live. I'm bringing your mics live. I'm going to transition the screen, and it is on. Here we go. Hello, hello, good morning to everyone as we get ready to play some Numenera, which is going to be for charity. We are benefiting the victims of the Camp Fire, which is a major wildfire in Northern California. And thank you everybody for coming out and being a part of this. Really appreciate it. I am going to just drop some real quick stuff in the chat for people who are interested, and then go over to the people who are playing the game so we can talk about them and how excellent they are. So, Adam, let's start with you because you're on the top of my screen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's not 6 a.m. here, it's 9 a.m. here, so because East Coast time. It is, however, 10 degrees outside, so
That is a challenge.
yeah.
I'm wearing
So my
shorts
heat
right
my
now.
heat will turn on, and you might hear it, you might not. We'll see.
So let's see. Do we have plugs? Do you have things you do that you want to promote?
I mostly don't do things online as far as that goes. I do. I guess I should give a Geeky Bugbear a shout out. I'm one of their players on Tuesday nights. They're pretty rad group of people. They do geeky things, obviously, in the name.
Excellent.
But that's about it.
They are excellent people. I've had nothing but the best interaction, so good stuff. Chris, you're up next.
Sure. Just doing my thing up here in the Big Sky country of Montana. Just if you want to follow me at Chris N, go ahead. And doing a bunch of local charity work up here, trying to get some stuff for local role players.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, and Jess, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Jess. You can find me at go_JG pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Twitch. I stream. I do a Critical Role fan theory nonsense podcast on Sunday called Critical Reroll, which we've been doing for basically like 3 years now. Yeah, and I'm just happy to be playing with you guys, doing this awesome charity. Thank you for running this, and very nervous to be playing Numenera for the first time.
Yay!
Yeah, I gotta say, how many people are new to Numenera? We've got two new people, and 2 people who have played before.
I've not played Numenera, I've played other surface systems.
Excellent. I gotta say, in my opinion, Numenera is my favorite, but I will save that for my later, talk about things. That's really cool. And I didn't know you did Critical Reroll, so now I know something new about chess. Very cool. Okay, Ozzy, you want to talk about yourself?
Yep, I'm Ozzy. I'm Cowhammed on Twitter and Twitch. I'm currently not on a regular stream, but I do a lot of things like this. So I pop up as guest at various places like Scraticus and Grimjack and Unmade Gaming and other places like that. It's going to be the new year. I'll be on a stream for Capricorn Cross and also for Grimjack again.
Very cool. Thank you guys all for joining us for this morning stream. I find it fun that we are doing both the earliest stream and the last stream, but what are you going to do? That's part of the fun, right? So today we're going to talk about Numenera, and I'm going to take a second and just gush about why I love Numenera. I have 2 favorite things. Number one, as a system, it's very player-facing. So I don't have to do any adjustment to say, you guys are in control and you guys are going to do all this stuff, and I'm just going to throw some fun things for you guys to deal with. That's how Numenera works. It's also not a system that works off of combat. So if you don't beat up a whole bunch of bad guys, you still get all of the experience in a game. Nothing happens that doesn't level your character up. You don't have to make any modifications for that. This is an exploration-based game. So I really like that personally as a tone. The other thing I really like about Numenera is it is a billion years in the future. So if there's something you want to do, it's probably there. If not, we can just make it up as we go, because let's find somebody who can tell you you can't do something a billion years from now, or, oh, that's not how people do stuff, then that's great. We're not going to worry about that. We can just do whatever we want, and it will be a fun game, and that is all I want in life. So that's Numenera. So I'm opening up the Numenera game right now on Roll20 so that we can go through character creation, make sure everything's set. There's only 3 steps in creating a cipher character. It's slightly more complicated than it sounds, but it's really just 3 moves, which is having a type, a descriptor, and a focus. So your type is a general character archetype or class. You have your descriptor, which is your, in a sentence, I should say, a Numenera character creation sentence is type is your noun, descriptor is your verb, and your focus is your extra participle of something cool you do. And that's realistically all you need. So as we go through this, if you guys have some basic ideas of things you'd like to do, that'll be helpful. If you don't have it finished, it's going to be expected, and we'll just see how things go as we get into this type section. So, Adam, you have that lucky designation of being the first person in the stream, so you're clearly always on the spot.
Yay!
So as I pull this up, and I go over to the character sheets, I see that Schrodinger already has a character sheet, so that's super cool. We open that up. It looks like you've done the majority of work at this point.
Yeah, I did. I basically filled in everything that came from the books, like, this is what you get, or these are the things you pick. But then it was like, also, you get to pick one additional skill, and I get to focus on a skill for a day, and that was like, oh, I don't know what that means, so I didn't do that.
That is fair. That's probably the hardest part of this. Okay, so just as kind of a read through so that other people get a little time to prep, if I'm looking in the player's guide, and if I look at Jack, we've got your character pool started at 10, 10, 10. You added 6 additional points.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called effort. So in the game, when you want to do things, we're always rolling a d20. The higher the roll, the better, and things go in levels from 1 up to 10. They are in increments of 3. So to get a level 1, you roll a 3. To get a level 10, you roll a 30. Yes, this is mathematically impossible, so you don't want a 10, 8, 9, 7. Okay, those were not in order, but those numbers are all impossible on the die, so you need skills and you need other things to bring those down. So that's something we can do in the game. One of the mechanisms to make a roll easier for you is what they call effort. When you apply effort, that's something as a tier 1, which is where you all are. Tier 1's like a level 3 or 4 character in D&D maybe. So as a tier 1 character, you can apply 1 level of effort to a task. So it means you don't have to worry about adding too many things together or anything like that at this point. But if you add a level of effort, everything becomes one step easier. So your 10 becomes a 9, etc. And it's much more doable. So that's the long effort talk. And edge, as a Jack, you got to apply an edge of your choice. So which one did you choose?
I chose intellect because just reading through the character, it looked like intellect was going to be their main focus. So I figured, why not?
Intellect is a good choice, and for you, yeah, it's great. Out of 3 Jacks on this stream so far, every single one chose intellect, so it can't be a wrong choice.
I almost chose speed, but I was like, they only have 1 speed ability, so I did not do that.
Well, everybody agrees with you, so it's good. Okay, so you can have 2 ciphers at a time. Ciphers are one-use special artifacts that will go away. They are intended to be used. This is a game about using stuff. So when we talk about these pools of might, speed, and intellect, these are points you can spend to make tasks easier for yourself. They're also your equivalent of hit points. They're your resource when they're used up. Your character is less effective. But this is a game about using stuff up, so if you're comfortable with that, it's a good idea. Okay, so weapons. You can use light and medium weapons without penalty. If you use a heavy weapon, you are hindered. The difficulty becomes 1 higher. So your 9 becomes a 10, your 10 goes to 11, I guess that's possible, etc. So you probably don't want to use a heavy weapon.
Sure.
You can pick a skill. There is a Numenera skill list. You may want to just search that on the PDF real quick because it's pretty big. But it's only 1 list of skills. And you can flex skill, which is a Jack, unless anybody objects to that. I'm fine with you just picking that when you decide you want to use a skill.
Okay.
So you don't really have to figure it out at the beginning of the day. This is going to be a short stream. And then we've got your equipment, which we'll kind of skip past. Your default starting ciphers, we'll go to those at the end of doing all this character creation. And there is a thing called Tricks of the Trade where you have your special abilities. Did you pick what those are?
Yes, as discussed in Discord, I picked definitely the late inspiration where I can retry failed tasks using the same difficulty and modifiers, but then I get an asset, which if I read correctly means that the difficulty goes down by 1.
That is correct.
And so, given my amazing luck with dice, I have decided to go with something that lets me reroll.
I think you made a great choice, and this has a cost of 3 intellect. So we talked about you having an edge earlier. You have an edge of 1, so anything that costs intellect is always 1 less. So that will only cost you 2 points, so that's pretty cool.
Okay. And then, because I assume the Jacks are the squishy people, I also took Vanish so that I could become invisible to run away.
I don't think there's any game where becoming invisible is the wrong choice. So that's good stuff. Okay, so we're going to keep going just through types because this is the longest of the 3 sections. But please remember, or remind me if you can, I skipped through descriptors and focuses both streams so far and then went back, so that will happen. Okay, Chris, so what did you look at?
I ended up looking at the Delve.
Ooh, okay, Delve is cool. I actually have only seen a delve played once, and it was yesterday, so it went very well for them.
So I added for a descriptor, it was Swift.
Okay,
Swift
cool.
Delve.
That sounds very neat. And I'm going to come back to your descriptor, but I just want to read through the stealth part with you first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Awesome. So for the stats, we started out 9, 9, 10 for your pools. Did you already go through and assign your extra points?
I'm going to do that right as we speak. So
No worries, no worries. So when you go through this, on the pools, if you look on the chart, it would be a good idea to make sure both your pool and your max are set to the number you're choosing now, because you'll want to keep that max solid, but you'll decrease the pool if you spend. So
Okay.
So let's see. Is your character Roman?
yes.
All right.
So,
Perfect. You've already done that. You are well ahead. Perfect.
So it should be 9, 9, and 10. Is that what you said? For
And
the
then you add 6 points, however you prefer. Some people like to be balanced for some reason. Other people's don't. So it's all your preference.
sure.
I'm going to continue reading, but you don't have to feel like you have to catch up to me. I'm just going to go through some of the
Okay.
like boilerplate. So your effort is 1. Everybody's effort is 1, so that's an easy one. You have both an intellect and a speed edge of 1, so that's pretty cool. You can bear 2 ciphers at one time. And for weapons, you can use light and medium, but heavy is going to make things harder for you. You have the Salvaging Numenera skill. I like this character sheet because I think it's pretty obvious where skills go. So you can just add a skill on the character sheet, and they're just text names, so you just put it in there. The unfortunate thing, if you're used to Roll20 skills where you can click to roll, is this sheet does not do that for you, I believe. And so it has another set of skills you can choose from, so you get to pick another skill there. But then you have an inability in crafting Numenera, understanding Numenera. This is kind of a weird thing, because some of your powers deal with that. So Numenera in this game are any sort of like unusual, cool things, like the equivalent of magic items in D&D. And what it means is for you, you're not really good at keeping things stuck together. You are going to be excellent at jury-rigging things and making temporary devices, but you are not the person who... You are the duct tape person. You're not the proper repair person.
Right.
I mean, for me, this is like, I feel very much like a delve in real life most days, so I don't know. We'll see how this all goes. Let's see. Community Explorer, we're probably not going to get in the community rules, but everything has those levels. So if something says it goes up by 1, that's a significant advantage to a community when you're around. So it's good stuff. And then we have your starting equipment. I'm letting you guys kind of like read through some of this stuff and not feel rushed by it, hopefully. The same thing with the ciphers. And then there's a list of abilities here. I don't know if you've chosen from those or if you're still working in there.
On the, I'm not sure if I got to the abilities yet or
That's
not.
okay. It's called Delve Lore, I think. Yep. It's going to be on the following page of the character sheet, and there's no rush here. I just want to call your attention to the fact that you have some choices to make there. If you have questions, we can discuss them as we go back and forth, but I'll just move on to Jess, and then we can loop back around.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so Jess, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
I'm doing good too. So, is your character Neko?
Yeah, I went with Nico for
Okay,
reasons.
Nico. Yep, got it. And let's see, you chose a glaive.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Because I thought it would be easy to be a fighter type.
You know, it's funny because there's nothing that's that hard, but there's no wrong choices here, no matter what. So, okay. And you've got your pools all set up. Awesome. Did great. It looks like you spent your 6 points.
I have to admit, I had to have someone help me do this.
Well, why would that be wrong? I mean, I plan on this coming in and like helping people in the first place,
Yeah.
but it's like, you know, I personally, I love like learning a new game, but I don't like doing anything without having some prep work done in advance. So like for me, this would be my highest anxiety situation. So yeah, I get that. So glaives are really cool. You get the effort of 1. You have an edge of 1 in might and speed, so that's
Yep.
very helpful. And you just plain always add 1 to damage. That's a newer thing for Numenera, but that's always good because the damage in Numenera is not a lot. Like a light weapon, this is unnecessary detail. A light weapon does 2 damage, a medium weapon does 4, and a heavy weapon does 6. So 2, 4, 6. But for you, it's all going to go up to 3, 5, 7. So that's a pretty significant advantage.
I like it.
Yeah. You can bear 2 ciphers at a time. You're already trained in wearing armor. I think for you guys, everybody else had the option of buying that. You don't have to. And let's see. Now we have weapons. You can use any of the weapons. So anything that looks good, I think it's a weapon to you. You get to pick a physical skill. So again, there's just that skills list, and you can pick one of these. Oh, you're already ahead of me. And you've picked it. It's there. It's great. And you've got your starting equipment that's there. There's the default ciphers. We'll go through ciphers in just a second.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't know what those mean
there's
now.
yeah, that part's the hardest part to get, and you've already got
Okay,
your fighting
okay,
moves.
cool.
It looks like. Yeah, the cipher is the hard part for you guys. Is this is not in the player guide, so
Okay.
I totally understand that there's no way you guys can know what's going on, but we'll definitely get to that next. I have learned from the
Awesome.
last 2 streams.
Awesome.
All right, so you are very well set. Good stuff. Okay, Ozzy. Tymo's got an entire
Hello.
character sentence here. He is set.
Yeah, so my type is a nano, which are spellcasters, roughly. They know how to use Numenera. They know how to use the background technology of the world. I picked, as my background, I picked psionics,
Very
which means my effects are more more subtle, and they tend to be more mental rather than flashy and fireball or whatever. So the idea I had for the character was he's not a common thief or assassin or anything like that, but he is a relic hunter, an archaeologist.
This is going to go well with our theme for today. It's a good way to go. So we've got the same stat allocation, and it looks like you've gone through that and added your 6 extra points.
Yep.
You've got your effort. You've got your edge of 1 and intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Nanos are cool because you can use 3 ciphers at a time, so that gives you a little extra juice there. And you can only use light weapons. Everything else becomes harder for you. Trained in understanding Numenera. We have starting equipment and ciphers that we're going to go into. And what did you pick for esoteries?
I picked Scan, Onslaught, and from my other from my descriptor, I got Hedge Magic.
Very cool. So you are very well prepared at this point for where we are in the game, so that is excellent. I'm going to move on to descriptor now and loop back to Adam. Adam, what did you pick?
Okay. If I remember correctly, the descriptor is, yes, I picked intuitive.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because as Ozzy was describing his character, I see this character as a character that is slightly out of phase with the world in the time stream sense of the word, so that they're constantly seeing, I always like to think of like the multiverse, like if someone could see it, you could see thousands of little people going off in the same direction. Like if you chose to go left instead of right, he can see both people going left and right, but then like eventually the person fades and the person keeps going right or keeps going left, whatever. But like he can see those moments in time, or they can see those moments in time where the split happens, where the choice happens. And so they are intuitive in the sense that because the descriptor allows them to act whenever they wish for that one particular moment. If they see the moment happening and like say Tymo like oh, I'm gonna go this way, and they can see that like, oh, Tymo gets crushed by a log, like no, and like grabs Tymo, pulls them back right before that second happens, and so they can see the paths. And that by doing this, it gives me plus 2 more intellect. I can act whenever I want to, but then I have to go last, I think, if I remember correctly, the next turn, or I'm hindered or something.
It says you're hindered, and what hindered means in this game is, again, difficulties are 1 step higher.
Yeah, so if I do that, I have a hard time doing anything else for a moment.
Right, and it references recovery rolls in here, so if you guys can help me remember, that's one more thing I need to talk about as we finish up character creation. And then you got a perception skill, so all very cool stuff. Okay, Chris,
Yep.
I'm going to loop back to you. So I've got 2 questions for you now. Number 1, did you decide on your abilities as a delve?
My abilities under abilities and attributes. So I did find the way and skill with defense.
Very cool. Okay, so you guys sound like you're expecting fighting, so I'll make sure that happens in here. I don't want to disappoint. And then in terms of your descriptor, what did you pick?
So the descriptor I ended up with going was that radiates vitality.
Oh, so you're one step ahead of me. We're on descriptor
Oh,
before
oh,
focus.
Swift. I'm sorry, Swift.
They're all new words for a lot of people when they're going through
Right.
this. So yeah. Okay, so Swift is great. It looks like you're adding to your speed pool. You're trained in initiative, which is nice. Trained in running, and you're unable in balance. So if there's any balancing that needs to be done, I think we need to rely on Nico versus on Roman. So that's all very good. Okay, I'm going to move on to chess. Nico's descriptor is
Descriptor risk taking.
that sounds like a good word for any character. That's how games are played, after all.
It sounds fun.
It does. Okay, so you also have a big speed bonus. You're
Yep.
adept at leveraging risk. I don't even know what that means, but that sounds great. And you are trained in skills that involve some element of chance. That's really cool. Okay, I'm liking this.
Yeah.
I have not seen this one before.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of fun. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
I looked at a lot of the descriptors, and a lot of them were like very like skilled and like confident. And I was like, no, I don't want any of that.
This is very good, but the thing that I like best here that's just ridiculous is the part where it says you can choose to succeed in a task of difficulty up to 6.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
but it says that the GM can like inflict something upon you for it, so it's not
Yes.
completely without cost.
This just speaks so highly to how I would play a game. I just love this. That's great.
It seemed like a really fun one, so I built this character for fun. So
Good stuff. Okay, and Ozzy, you have one of my all-time favorite descriptors, which is the mystical mechanical.
Yeah, and I picked mechanical.
Yep.
And so this was when my idea comes in that he finds interesting artifacts and machines and remnants from previous worlds, and uses them to both to his advantage and also to make money by selling them.
It's good stuff. Okay, and you got an intellect bonus. You're trained in Numenera. Now, you're already a nano, so did you move that up to specialized?
I didn't know how that worked.
Things stack. So if you're trained, then the next level of skill is specialized, and that's where you max out. So you can go 2 steps up on any skill.
I will do that.
Cool.
Yeah. So I didn't know the mechanical effect of that. So.
See, that's the reason.
Is that a skill basically?
Yeah. So the way skills go is skills start out as nothing, then they go to trained, and then they go to specialized. So in the skills, there are 2 little boxes here next to it.
Yep.
These things, if you actually hover over them, they tell you trained and specialized, but there is no other helpful label.
Yeah.
I apologize because this was the better of the 2 Numenera sheets available. Thank you to the person who made this, but it was a hard choice as to what was going to be useful to you all.
I think I like this one better because the other one is a shiny one which has it's arranged nicely, or sort of rather, it's arranged beautifully. But I think for the game, especially when you're starting out, this one is easier to understand.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Numenera as a visual thing, but I also want people who are playing games to know what to do, and it's a very hard call.
So specialization in a skill means you drop the difficulty by 2?
2. So it's going to be really good for you. Cool. And then we talked about your hedge magic, and you have an inability at, let's see, this is social things, correct?
Yes, charm, persuasion, and deception.
Right. That's good stuff. That's always fun to have an inability in. Okay, so let's go to focus, and we're back around to Adam with Schrodinger. And what do we have there?
I picked Shreds, the Walls of the World.
This is why I love Numenera. I mean, you can't just like geek out over how cool people's characters are.
Again, going with that theme that they are out of phase. There were 2 out of phase ones, and this was the one that I liked better. Essentially, they get 2, I guess, abilities or skills. They get something called phase sprint, which means that I can run up to a long distance, which if I've read correctly means that's very unique because most people can only move like short distances without spending a lot of effort.
Right. It basically means where somebody might have to make a speed test, because if you want to move farther in Numenera, they actually just make you make a roll for it. So you can go farther than you should be able to go during a turn, you just roll. So for you, though, you can do it, and you're going to do it Nightcrawler style. where you're going
Yeah.
to be out of phase in a very cool way.
And I get a bonus to armor while I'm phased. It does cost me a speed point to do it, so that's why I almost took a speed edge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the ability to, if I want to, disruptingly touch someone, which means during my speed sprint or my phase sprint, I can basically reach out and touch someone as I'm being phased out, and if I hit them, they suffer damage, and I can increase that damage by expending levels of effort.
That's very good. I do appreciate you going through my GM notes before the game and applying the most useful character possible to it. So that's very good. Thank you for that. All right. So, Chris, we're going to move on to Roman and get his details. What
Sure.
is his focus?
His focus is radiates vitality.
That's really cool sounding. And another one I have not seen before. So, okay, let's look through this. Another thing, just as a note, when it says that you have a minor effect in your notes, that's when you roll a 19 on the die. When you have a major effect, you've rolled a 20 on the die. So the special rolls in this game, 17 and 18, are like pretty cool and do more damage. 19 means your character's focus in some way makes things rad. And on a 20, it is super rad. So something is going to happen, it's going to be great, and I'm going to need some help flavoring it, and you guys will know better than I will what that is. So, yeah, Chris, it looks like you've got a like Wolverine special regeneration power here.
Mm-hmm. That's basically what it is. So the way I've planned Roman to be is like he kind of footloose and carefree about diving into places that he shouldn't put his hands.
I love this. You guys are all so perfect for playing this game. It's great. Okay, Jess, what did you pick for your focus?
Moves like cat.
Moves like a cat. Good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what like the racial and class and stuff like that is, but I was like, it's the future. Hopefully I could be some sort of a mutant cat person.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, things are roughly humanoid in general in this game. So, we have people who have major cybernetics and biological enhancements, and apparently Adam isn't totally in this reality. So, I mean, yeah, why not?
That's great.
The picture on this page also has kind of a Wolverine-y vibe. So, I mean, I'm feeling like they're really pushing you towards that. Wow, so you got a +5 to your speed pool. That's crazy.
I know. I'm really fast.
Yeah,
and I've got balance, but I have an inability at sneaking and staying quiet. So I was imagining my like even before, like I said, when I was looking at the descriptors and sort of seeing a lot of positive, I was like kind of like looking for some negative, and I think it fits into the sneaking and staying quiet because I imagine them as sort of like impatient and kind of on the side, like getting bored and being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go in now." Like,
very nice.
Which works well with the risk taking.
yeah,
It's a really
That plays well
composed.
together.
Yeah.
You guys have all done very well with that. I like that. One thing I do want to point out is I'm looking through your skills right now, and I think you still get another skill. Because
I
under
do.
physical skills for Glaive, I don't think, because I thought your balance was going to be here. You've got two
Okay.
choices. You could either go double balance and be specialized in balancing, or you could take another physical skill from that Glaive list.
Oh, I can?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. This was from the...
You're doing great. And under your inabilities, I noticed in that same block, it gives you some additional inabilities to make your life more interesting.
Okay, what are they?
That last line says you are unable in crafting Numenera, salvaging Numenera, and
Okay.
understanding Numenera. So
It's
you
just
really
not my
fall.
jam.
Yeah, apparently you're here
Yes.
for the breaking stuff.
Yep.
So that's cool. I think we should just stick to that. And sneaking, of course, and being fast.
Okay. And sorry, where was the place where I pick another skill?
So you're in the Glaive section. For me, it's
Yep.
page 21 of the Numenera Player's Guide, and there's a section where it says physical skills. And it gives you a list of skills you could choose from. It's balancing, climbing, jumping, swimming.
Oh, okay. I think I did see that, and I think I was going to go climbing because cat.
Yeah, sure. I am sure that will come up.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so Ozzy, last but not least.
So my descriptor is works the back alleys. So the base description is you're thief, burglar, and but the connection is that one of the other PCs basically persuaded me to leave the world of crime and apply my skills in other ways. And so that's where the archaeologist idea came in.
Good stuff.
Yeah, applying the skills in sneaking through old buildings and finding traps and that sort of thing. But for the good.
I like the swerve here for this character too, where we went from having like some very like, kind of like generic nano oriented stuff to suddenly also all these thief skills you just picked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
So what that gives me is I'm trained in pickpocketing, lockpicking, and sneaking.
Yeah, it's
It
good.
kind of fits with my background I was looking at.
Yeah, and I apologize if I fast forward through any of the background details as we go through this. My number one goal is to get to where we can do the play part, but in doing so, we're also going to make sure you have all your equipment as we go. And feel free to talk about your characters when we get to that point, how you want them to join up. But I'm going to get a couple more things going here for you guys because we need ciphers. And we're going to start with Adam, because that's been my routine so far. I have 3 PDFs open now. This is, again, one of the downsides. A good, bad part of Numenera is when they reorganized, they took the Arcus, Delve, and Write and put them into one book, because it's a whole book of how to build a community. If you like Minecraft and like crafting games, there's an entire crafting game to your, like, a role-playing game now. And you can build settlements and make things all you want. It does mean you have to look in 2 books. That's the downside. So I'm okay with this downside personally. And there's going to be some rolling here if you guys want to get your Roll20 or other dice rollers ready. Here we go. So for you, Adam, your 2 ciphers are... I know what number 2 is. The first one's a machine control implant. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the machine control implant. This is in the base book Discovery. If anybody ever finds themselves going along with this, I don't know why you would need to. We are in Chapter 17. We have a cipher list. There is a machine control implant. It's got a level of at least a D6. It might be a D6 plus 2, which is what I'm trying to look up. Okay. Machine control implant level is 1d6 plus 2. So if you can roll a d6 and add 2, please.
That's not how you spell roll. You said plus 2?
Plus 2.
It looks like it's a 4.
Okay, 4 is pretty good. So again, the system goes 1 through 10, so it's not that bad to have a 4. Here's a description of the device for you. And number 2 is a visage changer, which is super cool because, the thing we learned in a previous game is it does work on other people. So if you need to change somebody else's visage, you can always do that. This has a level of 1d6. If you can roll 1d6, please.
Ha.
Okay. And there is the effect there. All right. I've got to get to book 2 for the Delve, and we're going to get Chris's ciphers for him.
All right. So those are on that tab. And I get 2 of them, it looks like.
And I actually find it's easiest for this one to search it because the book is organized differently. And so I'm going to find the names. If you have those in front of you, that's great. Otherwise, I'll find them. I'm right there. Page
Okay.
43 at the top. Phasing gloves. These are cool. How could anything called phasing gloves not be cool, right?
It just sounds cool.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm not always a fan of Adobe, but searching a PDF is something they do well. Okay, so you've got a phasing glove, which is 1d6 plus 1 as a level. If you could roll that and roll 20, please.
Yeah. So a D6.
That's right. Plus 1. So that'll be a 5. And then here is your descriptor. Number 2, we have the travel bubble.
So that was a level. What was the level on the phase gloves?
It was 1d6 plus 2, so if you rolled a 4, it'll be a 5. And the travel bubble is 1d6 plus 4. So if you want to go ahead and roll that.
5. 1d4 plus 2?
Nope, 1d6 plus 4.
Oh, okay.
That's a good level. Good stuff. So here's your description for that. Okay, I'm going to move over to Jess for her ciphers. Okay, Jess, let's see, starting ciphers. Density module. I really feel like ciphers, it's all about how you say them, if they're cool or not. So they're pretty much all cool. You just have to find like the right inflection. So this is a level 1d6 if you can roll that.
Okay, 1d6.
Mm-hmm.
Can do a 2.
Okay, hey, it's not that bad for this one. So you're basically going to make something heavier and do more damage.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it might be everything you want in a cipher, really.
Yeah.
And number 2 here is a rejuvenator. Okay, so the rejuvenator. Oh, that's no fun. Okay, well, let's go for the level. It's good, but there's something I'm going to change on it. So it's a d6 plus 2.
d6 plus 2. Okie doke. Oops. I did a d6 without a 2, so that's 4.
Okay. No problem at all. So the thing that I thought was not as much fun about this is they want you to make it for a random pool. I have altered this description to say you can put it in whatever pool you want, but this is when we talk about recovery later on. This is going to be a way for you to add points back to your pool, as in auto item. So you're going to be able to add 4 points back to a pool when you use this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very useful. But the randomness makes it less fun. Because you're going to know what you're spending on. Okay, and then Ozzy for the nano, we're going to grab your ciphers. You're going to have the most, which is the fun of being the nano. The gravity nullifying spray. It's a fun stuff.
Nullifying spray.
And this is a d6 plus 2.
Okay. Wow.
Excellent, excellent.
6.
That's a good level for this game. Okay, and number 2 is a telepathy implant.
Ooh.
Now, it does say implant, but most of these do have the option of being something that is non-permanent because they are such temporary items, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, anything terrible.
It could be like a set of goggles.
Yeah, or like a patch, or they give the idea it could be an injection. I don't know how many people will be fans of that. And this is a d6
I'd
plus
imagine it could be something, or maybe just because it is, I'm a psionic, so it might be in me, and can use it X number of times, and then it's gone again. But it's just doing the Darth Vader thing.
Yep. Yeah, it looks
So it's a
good.
telepathy implant.
And it's a 1d6 plus 2.
1d6 plus 2. Whoops.
Hans, what was the name of my second cipher again? I forgot to type it in.
That's a good question.
I have the descriptor.
Number 6.
Let me scroll up and see if I can figure this out for you without looking in the book real quick. Oh, you have the travel bubble.
Travel bubble, that's what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Luckily, it's a really cool name, so. And, okay, Ozzy, last one, the teleporter.
Whoa.
The thing that everybody wants to have, and it does have a d6 plus 4 level.
Yeah, my roll 20 is slowing down again.
Yeah, that was my problem too.
Plus 4.
Plus 4. Oh.
10.
Okay, guys. Now, again, 10 is the highest level in this game. So, I gotta say, having a level 10 teleporter might be clutch. That might be something you really want.
User teleports up to 100 times the cipher level in miles.
Wow.
So,
To a location they've previously visited. They arrive safely with their possessions, but cannot take anything else with them. And that also includes people, I assume.
I think you are probably right. So at this point, there's going to be 3 parts of the cipher system I want to introduce. Hopefully I will remember them all, and things will go well. I'm going to try to go through recovery rolls, GM intrusions, and player intrusions. These are all experience point related. So in Numenera, when you guys have experience points that get used, no, let's go back to recovery rolls before I get off track. Recovery rolls. So everything you guys do in the system expects you to spend points from your pools. So if you want to be better at something, faster, smarter, spend points from your pool. That is expected in how it works. If you take damage, you will also lose points from those pools. So whatever's going on, whatever abilities you want to use, go ahead and spend those points, and then you make a recovery roll. On the sheet, it is the part that is under the gray box on the right. And it just says recovery. And again, it doesn't look like it's an important part, despite being one of the main features of the game here. So after action and initiative, there's recovery. And it has a plus. In this case, for all of you, it'll be +1 because of your tier. Nobody had an ability that changed that, did they?
No.
Okay. I know there's a couple descriptors that make it like a +2, but that's about it. This is a 1d6 plus, in this case 1. And on this sheet, by the way, all the buttons you need to push are the green buttons. So wherever you see a green button, if you want to roll that thing, you just push that green button. So the first one, it only takes 1 action to make a recovery. So you take a turn and you just go ahead and recover. So that's not so bad. The second one takes 10 minutes. So we're getting more to like a D&D short rest. The third one's going to take an hour, so then you have your official short rest. And the last one takes 10 hours. So you're only going to have so many recovery rolls you can make in the course of a day, but to be fair, I have seen 0 recovery rolls made in 2 previous streams, so if you feel like you need to make one, you're probably not going to run out of time to make it. You guys get the benefit of the last 2 streams in terms of what's going on, and also literally. The last thing I was going to say with that is, Jess, remember that you have that cipher that's a free recovery roll, basically. So you can just add 4 points back to a pool, so that's great stuff. You want that. Okay, experience points, GM intrusions, player intrusions. You guys are all going to start this game with 1 experience point. An experience point in the game in long term you can use for advancements and things like that, but in the short term you can use it to re-roll and to make player intrusions. I have a child who wants to come into the room. So as we get into this, what it means is if you have a roll and you don't like it, you can spend an experience point. In the section for the game, I believe it's under type, it gives you some suggestions of player intrusions. There's a way that you can say, for an experience point, I want this to happen in this game. Go ahead and do that. That's totally cool. It's not going to derail anything. And as we go into the game, there is also a mechanism called a GM intrusion, which is when, through normal course of play, things seem like they're fine, so I will, of course, want to change that up. What's going to happen is, as the GM, I would give you an experience point for you, and also an experience point that you get to give to another player. So the nice thing is it builds some teamwork. The downside is it makes you choose amongst your friends you've just met and played with. That was by far the hardest thing we had in both of the previous streams. So just go for it, because you guys will pick up the momentum. Whoever goes first, I'm sorry. That's how the mechanism works. And then you'll have experience points you can spend and keep using. So this is a spending game. Have fun. Go ahead and use what you get. I talked about player intrusions, GM intrusions, experience. You guys have an idea of the basic how you roll and what those things mean? That all sounds okay at this point?
The base roll is whatever your difficulty, tell us the difficulty is, and then we apply our abilities. So if you're trained, you're lowering the difficulty by 1 step. If you specialized, another step, and then if you have other assets, you can also lower the difficulty.
Right.
Which might be situational things, which might be ciphers, which might be other things on your sheet.
Yep. And if we ever get a roll so low,
situation X, you lower the difficulty.
That's right. If we ever get to a situation where the roll is so low that you're at a 0, you also don't have to roll, but you can choose to roll to see if you get that like 19 or 20 to do something really crazy too. So it's all up to you guys how many dice you want to roll during today's game in that rate. Let's get into... I have to actually update the OBS real quick to put your character names on here. So as I'm doing that, Adam, do you want to tell us what your character looks like? Maybe tell us some details about them?
Sure. So Schrodinger, they are medium height, medium build. They tend to wear kind of tight-fitting clothing only because of their out-of-phaseness. If it's stuff is dangling off, they've experienced that they can get caught by accident and like like walls and stuff as their clothing rematerializes inside of the wall, and so they've learned to keep their clothing much more tight to their body. They wear their hair very short. It's like stark white almost. Again, maybe a side effect of phasing through solid matter. Who knows? And they have like green eyes and a little bit of stubble, but not much. They look very just. They kind of look like an everyman or an everywoman, but with white hair and very tight clothing.
Very
It's
cool.
very hard to see.
Very cool. Okay, Chris, do you want to talk about Roman?
Aye, Roman is a great guy. He likes to dive deep into all the fun places and all the great places, and likes to find all of the treasures that he can find. One of those things that he likes is he likes his drink, and but he can never quite find anything can get that his damn cursed vitality can find. Sometimes he gets himself into a little bit too much trouble, and other times he just kind of finds himself laying down somewhere because those damn Numenera things and darn electricity.
It is good stuff. Okay, Jess, are you ready to tell us about Nico?
Yeah, I think sort of like I described, I imagined them as kind of like impatient, kind of. I imagine them staying sort of to the back of the group at first. They have like a hood up so you can't fully see their features. But I think what gives them that great balance is they have a super long tail hanging out of their cloak. Just like and yeah, they prefer to sort of stay at the back, let the others talk, but then they're the first one to run in because of that risk taking, because of that speed and everything like that. Yeah, and they're like humanoid, sort of slim for that speed, but like have muscle, but it's very like toned. Yeah, they have cattish features, but they're mostly humanoid with a really long tail. Maybe like occasionally like anime style little ears go like boop boop, like peek out. Yeah, that's sort of what I thought.
Good stuff. Okay, Ozzy, do you want to tell us a little bit about Timer?
Timer is also it's quite short, quite lanky. Usually wears a cowl of some sort, so nobody usually sees his features clearly. Tends to at least try to keep in the shadows, which is sort of a remnant from his future life. He doesn't, always try to, stay out of sight, even if it's not necessary. I think if he's sort of dark-skinned, short-cropped, dark hair, and his eyes are quite interesting because they are greenish blue, so in complete contrast to his other features. And this is his eyes are the main reason why people are a bit put off by him, because he just stares at them and they go a bit, what's this guy?
Good stuff. Okay. Well, I think we are ready for Numenera if you are all ready. Does anybody have any questions about the game system as we get rolling into play? Okay. They can, of course, just come naturally as things go. We've got plenty of fun planned here as we start out.
Just to how to actually roll on the sheet. So you put the difficulty in a difficulty box?
That's a great question. To be honest, I am not good at this, so that may be a thing where there's a difficulty box. I usually just see people pushing the green button, and then we figure as we go.
Oh, right, okay.
Because
I tried this earlier, and what you can do is so that you put the difficulty box.
Okay.
Then you apply whatever your modifier if you have a skill in it, whatever your modifier is. So I for inability, so that automatically applies that it is the difficulty is higher. Untrained, trained, and specialized. You can spend effort, and then you click the relevant stat button.
Very cool. I'm glad that's so well set up. So if you guys can do that, you're welcome to. And if that is overwhelming, I didn't get all of that myself. So I would personally, I'm going to like if I was doing it, I would push that green button next to the pool, and we'll work it out as we talk. No matter what, it's going to be okay. But thank you for the technical rundown, Ozzy, because I didn't know you could do that. So
I tried this earlier, and it seemed to be accurate.
I have to admit, it would seem like a good idea if you're going to run a game for 3 sessions of the game that you should try the sheet out earlier.
And if you got the API set up, which I don't think you have, then it will automatically take off points from the pool when you spend effort.
That's very cool. I apologize for being so poorly set up compared to that.
No,
but,
that's all right.
No,
you
it's
can
just-
only use the API when you've got a pro subscription anyway.
Well, I have no excuses whatsoever for this, but I apologize for that. It's just one of
That's
those
okay.
fun things. Trying to
No
learn how the
problem.
game works is always good.
No. I mean,
yeah.
in reality, you would roll a d20 and add and subtract all the points anyway. So
Yeah, and we talked about the shiny sheet versus this sheet. I have used the shiny sheet in the past, and the last game, everybody we just defaulted to looking at people's paper sheets after a few minutes because it was confusing. So I thought this would be better, and it worked out okay previously, but I did not set up anything whatsoever.
cool.
What I did set up for you guys is a short story that takes
that's
place in the
one-
wilderness.
That's one more thing.
Okay,
I get an extra oddity.
excellent. Would you like to roll for an oddity by rolling on the table?
Oh yeah,
I can get that
that's
for
fun.
you. I do have a table, which is very close to my fingertips here. It is a D100 roll.
Okay. It's a 79.
Okay. 79. That sounds like a really good number. We'll see what that means. A pair of small floating cubes that keep a small enclosed room at the temperature in which water freezes. You have ice
I have
cubes.
a walking fridge. A freezer even.
Yeah, it's good
Have
stuff.
some cubes.
So,
So I put the cubes into the corners basically, and that makes up
yep.
the room. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys are all set there. I didn't explain oddities for any of you. Do you guys want me to run through that? These are all small things which may be flavor colorful and fun, but don't necessarily mechanically help you out too much in the game. I can definitely go through that if you like.
Is this a cipher thing? So it disappears after use, or is that
Oddities just kind of stick around because they're not considered to be game breaking. So, for example, Ozzy's other one is a metallic jar that maintains the temperature of liquid inside indefinitely. I call that a thermos. Let's see, for Jess, you've got...
Blob of clay that takes on various mysterious shapes when left alone.
There is
I
nothing...
imagine every once in a while I go and look at it and I'm like, what is it doing?
Yeah, that's not at all terrifying.
What a weird random thing. It's cute.
That's good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and mine is a case that if you put a small creature inside of it, it puts it into stasis.
I've actually seen that come into use in this game, so maybe they're not all totally mechanically useless. And the delve...
Get a shirt that displays muscles, bones, and internal organs when you wear it.
An X-ray shirt?
Yeah,
What?
Wow.
that's an interesting oddity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that might sell really well. That was probably one of the last artifacts of our civilization before it was destroyed. In Numenera, by the way, we're in the 9th world. There have been 9 previous entire epochs, like whole histories and things and so forth. And in the game, they explicitly mentioned they are not all necessarily human or from this plane of reality. So look forward to just finding stuff and having no idea what it could possibly be for. That is the fun of all games. Okay, so anything else before we get game going?
Good.
Okay. No one.
Roman is ready.
Here we go. So you are all in the wilderness. You are not near a civilization currently, and you are near the shore. So you can see like that rocky, sandy beach and the water with its like glassy blue surface out in the distance. But you're all well on the shore in kind of like a rocky, rough area. You've met somebody out here that has told you there is some good salvage in this area, and they haven't seen any predators or anything that scares them away. This person is small. They're not a child, but they are child-sized. They have iridescent green eyes, and they have very pronounced ridges on their spine, but they're not otherwise unusually unhuman or anything like that. People come in all shapes and sizes 1,000 years in the future, so this is just one of those many varied people. And their name is Slimo, which is a name you can trust and love. So Slimo has brought you out here, and they're kind of like hunched over. They keep their hands out, usually at like head level, and they make a lot of like grasping motions with their fingertips. They're always touching stuff. I don't know how you feel about them touching your personal property up to this point, but they are not very acquainted with the idea of yours and theirs. So Slimo is moving the hands out a lot and talking and saying, and the thing that's very, very interesting that I think you would like the most about this place, there are things that are not there.
Things that are not there. Do explain. What is this? They're not there. That does not make sense.
That makes perfect sense to me.
He points at Schrodinger and says, you know what I mean.
We do.
There are things where you can try to touch them and they will be there and then they are not there. And I think it is valuable.
They should be, yes.
Yes. And they're again going through a whole bunch of hand motions and things like that. They seem very pleased with themselves. So, you can investigate, and you are very strong, so you will not be hurt, and then you will share part of the proceeds, the things you find with Slimo.
We shall see.
But I'm showing you, it's amazing.
All things are amazing. It only matters how you look at them.
Yes, look very hard, so you can find lots of things to share with Slimo.
We will try.
Small friend, show us the way.
This is it. This is the place. It's right here.
And so we're just seeing a shore, and there's like nothing actually.
It is an empty, gently hilly expanse of land. There is, like marshy scrub grass all around. You can hear and see the water in the distance as it gently laps against the shore. But this is just wide open, rocky terrain.
And Slimo's pointing towards the rocky terrain, not back out into the water.
That is correct.
Okay.
Emphatically pointing.
I'd like to use my sense magic ability.
Okay, that sounds like a thing you should do.
I'll stare intently at that rocky outcropping and see if there's anything talking to me.
So, give me a moment to become prepared here as we look at the descriptor. It is in the descriptor that you see this, correct?
It is the descriptor, yep. It's the sense magic. You can sense, it doesn't say there's a role involved. So you can sense if the Numenera is active in situations where its presence is not obvious. You must study an object or location closely for a minute to get a feel for whether the touch of the ancients is at work.
There is something here. There is something very large here. It is not in this reality fully, or at all maybe, and it is slightly off the ground. There is probably about 4 feet of open space between whatever this is and where it starts up in the air, and it seems to rise up into the air above you.
So what this looks like to everybody else, my eyes glaze over for a while, and I go, and then I point into an empty space, in that empty space in there. Something is up there. I can see it, I can feel it.
Excellent.
Slimo is again wringing his hands in joy. Yes, you can find things and bring them, and I will share in them.
Really?
Yes.
I think this is your field of expertise here. It's not quite there, like you sometimes.
Yes. Perhaps related. Schrodinger will try to move closer and see if they get a sense of anything or can like glimpse the edge of it or something like that.
Excellent. So, I talked about this mechanic, and it seems time to introduce it. we have our GM intrusion. So, hey Adam, how's it going? This is for you. And who would you like to give this other one to?
I'll give it to Tymo now since he was able to find the dude head.
Cool. See,
Thank
it all
you.
gets easier once you get that ball rolling. That's how it starts. Okay, so now we've got our first GM intrusion. As you are walking closer, you feel your body being pulled in a way that you can normally control. Normally, when you phase, you think, oh, I've got this. You know, there's that sense of yourself, maybe. You could describe that as you will. But right now, you can feel like a sympathy with something else.
Can I tell if the sympathy is dangerous or if it has a purpose that would lead to where I technically want to go?
That is the best possible question. You can tell that it is dangerous because you are losing control of this reality. The same way that you feel like you jump back to home, you feel like you're being pulled somewhere else. So, this is where we will make a relevant defense roll.
Okay.
Let's talk about the 3 stats. We've got might, speed, and intellect. How do you feel like you are responding to being dimensionally pulled?
I think I would respond, or Schrodinger would respond with instinct, which would be speed. They would try to basically phase back out, and the phasing sprint is a speed thing. So.
Okay, cool. So here's where we begin the difficulty bargaining phase. So we're starting at a difficulty of 6. This is hard.
Woohoo!
There's something, it's basically like you're a piece of iron and this is a magnet, and you just got pulled to it. So at a difficulty 6, what would you like to apply to make this easier for yourself?
Okay. Well, I am not trained. I guess the speed sprint, maybe using that as some kind of asset or something to lower the difficulty.
Sure, let's do that. So we're at a 5, and then this is where you can also apply effort if you'd like. So you can say you want to lower your pool by, you've got an edge of 1, so it would usually be 3 for you, it's 2, and at that point you would be able to spend the 2 speed, go down 1 more difficulty.
Well, I have an intellect edge, so I'd still need to spend 3
Oh,
speed.
right. Okay, I apologize. So you're right, it would be
That's okay.
3, and then your difficulty would be 4.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna spend a level of effort. This seems dangerous.
Would I be able to interact with him to pull him back?
That's a really good question. That might be a good secondary thing here. There's a couple ways that make sense as like player-facing mechanics for this. Number 1, you can give somebody an asset if you assist them, which could be good, but what might be a better choice in this case in terms of cost is to spend an experience point if somebody needs to re-roll, to say either you intrude and you've done something, or you want them to re-roll their roll. Those are usually really helpful to you.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I have done everything. We'll see see if I use the sheet correctly.
Yes.
Oh, yay!
Okay, so you're only off by 1 level. So that's not so bad, right? It could be so much worse. Actually, no, I take that back. I guess it's a difficulty 2. I'm reading the sheet now properly. So you got a 2, you needed a 4. And if that's the case, how do we want to deal with this? Do you want to spend an experience point to reroll, or do you want to let somebody else into the situation?
Since I got that experience point for your intrusion, I'll use my own.
Yeah, see
Try
how
it
fair
again.
GM intrusions are? They give you that option right there at the beginning.
All right, we'll try it again. Yeah.
Okay, I have definitely seen this happen before. So, at this point, Schrodinger is, you can actually see, like, do you feel like matter changes? Like, do you move matter-wise when you shift, or is it just shift?
I envision it much more like stepping out of time, and so matter kind of all moves together, and so I kind of separate into pieces and then come back to pieces. So
Excellent.
it looks kind of like Nightcrawler, where it just like disappear, but it feels like I am everywhere and then I am back to one place.
The reason I'm glad I asked is because it makes a much more interesting visual now that I've got that. So right here, we're pulling, you can feel something pulling you forward, and that thing that you can feel is basically, it's like your body is coming into like a mist, and it is pulling things forward into this place you're hitting. Somebody has just told me I'm pulling the wrong roll 20, which totally sounds like me. So long story short, your body is being separated and pulled into this opposite dimension. Now, supposedly I have the right roll 20.
Yeah, that's my speed roll. Two
Okay.
failures in a row. Don't worry,
Cool.
guys.
Yeah, sorry, Seller. I think I got that one right this time. Okay, so currently you are being pulled towards this other source. So does somebody else want to do something?
Yes, Roman would love to reach out to the crab and try to pull him back.
Okay, so what you basically need to do is succeed in the speed roll he failed.
Okay.
Good luck.
So let's see, skills. I'm going to say you can apply your skill in initiative to this.
Okay. So I'm not sure how to use the chart, so I'm just gonna hit a speed roll.
Yes.
And
So right
being-
now, you've got a speed roll. You have one level of skill that's applying. So right now you're trying to roll against a 5, so you need to roll a 15.
Sure. I'm also have my phase gloves, which would help with him being phased out of reality.
You can use that if you want to. These are ciphers, and they are going to go away. What is the level of the phase glove?
5.
Okay, I'm going to say if you want to use a cipher, you don't need to roll at all, because if he phases, you can just grab him.
Well, I don't want my friend to be sucked off into oblivion and who knows where, so I'm going to use my phase gloves to grab him and pull him back.
Excellent. Okay, so if you don't mind me narrating a little bit, here's how I'm assuming this goes. We've got, first off, Schrodinger begins to be pulled into another reality. There is a moment there, usually you don't go anywhere really interesting when you phase, maybe, I don't know, you can tell me. But in this particular case, you get pulled into something visible. There is a like cloudy, white, misty background to the world, and there is in sharp focus a building that is shaped roughly like an ice cream cone. It is a cone shape that goes up from the ground like this, going around three-dimensionally, and you can only see the base of it for that brief second before suddenly you feel yourself... Roman, how do you grab him? Roughly?
By the scruff of the neck and bring him back, because it was like, whoa, where are you going, sir?
Yanked back into your reality, and as Roman pulls you back, you hear the phase guns go boop and power down.
Yeah, that cost me 2 days. Oh well.
That was interesting. Something is definitely here. Taimo was right.
What did you see? Did you see anything?
I did. I saw a structure out of phase. I'm not sure if that was a defensive mechanism or something else.
Maybe
Unless I
that's
could be sure that that was defensive, or if that was actually how to get there.
You can be sure. Would you like to make a roll to be sure?
Yes.
So let's go through this. I would say it's going to be an intellect roll, and
Okay.
I am going to say that you have an asset period to this,
Okay.
and that this is also a perception skill for you.
Ooh, that means it's specialized.
Yep. So we are trying to understand
what's-
something that's effectively level 6 at all times, so your 6 became a 4 so far.
So if it's a 6, my specialization drops it down to 4. And then
are you specialized or trained?
I'm specialized. I
Ooh.
took, because being intuitive, I get the perception skill,
Mm-hmm.
and then I used perception as my jack skill.
Yep.
So I'm specialized.
You are correct. So, yep, you're going down 2, so you're down to a 3.
Yay! Maybe I won't fail. I'm not. Yeah, I need to know this answer, so I'm going to spend a level of effort and go down 2 in intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm at 2, right?
Yep, that's right.
So I need a 6 or better.
Hey.
Yeah.
Good show, good
I
show.
rolled an 8!
This sheet is very good because check this
It's
out. It even looks like
already-
it wants to let you push that red button to just automatically reduce your pools.
Oh yeah, I already did, but I won't. So I won't push the button.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. Hey, good
That's
job,
cool.
sheet.
good thing I spent that level of effort.
It's really good. And
What a fail.
I think it's really great. I'm glad that worked out so well. And Ozzy, thanks for that sheet rundown earlier, because now I can see what you mean by it.
Mhm.
So, looking into this now, you know what's going on. There is, again, just a little bit of something out of phase. If you had to guess, this is not something that's intentional, and you don't think it's going to affect any of your friends, but this is already your specialty. So as you move into this area, your focus, one might say, as you move into this area, you can feel that dimensional energy, and it calls to you. This building that you found probably doesn't belong in that dimension. It's probably been yanked, just like you were almost yanked.
So this is just a, I guess for lack of a better word, aura that this building is emanating. It's not necessarily the way to get into the building. It's just a byproduct of this thing being yanked from whencever it came.
That's correct. And if you want to go all in on this, since you've got experience points, as a player intrusion for somebody who is good at dimensional yanking and so forth, I would say this has become a term. I'm sorry. It's just how I'm going to refer to this.
Dimensional yanking. I like it.
It sounds so bad as soon as I say it twice. But long story short, if you want to spend an experience point as a player intrusion, I think you could make this work for everybody as a doorway rather than being an accident.
I will 100% spend that XP to intrude.
So,
I'm 0 XP now.
would you like to describe how great this is?
So Schrodinger stands there for a moment and says, "Yes, I knew this is why I had to come." And they put their hands out and they basically just kind of like manipulate, and a little veil like ripples, and you guys see like a pathway of some kind.
I'm envisioning like a curtain parting.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you see like white mist, just kind of like, fading off into the distance. And there is that ice cream cone shaped building. It is a large, like bronze brown building that raises up. It's again about 4 feet off the ground. And it looks probably about 30, 40 feet tall. Looking up, maybe more like 60, I think is how I described it last time. And it has my hands are going out of frame. It has a dome at the top. So this is quite a tall building. You don't see any sort of exterior doors or ports or anything like that. It just
So one
is floating
scoop.
there. One scoop. Only one scoop in this ice cream cone.
Much for a double scoop today.
I am a stingy dad. It's a one scoop ice cream cone day. So you all now have a permanent functional portal into this plane until further notice. Slimo stands there and says, "Yes, excellent. Go ahead."
You're such a great little one.
I will be here.
We will be back.
Keep the door open.
Yes, Slimo will do that, and when he comes back, we'll share in what you find.
Oh, well.
In we go.
Onward and upward.
So, you step into this dimensional space, which feels no different, has all of the same oxygen and other things that you might need, and you find yourselves in front of this cone. The entire area that you can really feel, everything around the cone, if you move more than just a few feet from it, it gets very odd feeling. Not cold, but wrong. Like if you were too far away from this, you might not be okay. I don't know how to make that sound any less ominous. It's basically ominous everywhere around the cone.
Do not stray.
I'm
This
going to
is
walk once
not right.
around the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, and the entire time you feel like something is brushing against your side right here. Just kind of like there is too much beyond a certain distance. And yeah, I mean, if you feel like you want to like duck and move, it's uncomfortable and unpleasant away from this cone.
And I have a look if I can see anything that might be an opening, a door, a window, something like that.
So, at the top level, where the cone meets the ice cream, there is a walkway, parapet, balcony type area that surrounds this. So it has just a little bit of a lip.
And but that's at the top of the cone.
That is about 45 feet in the air.
What?
How good is my climbing skill? Like, I know.
I'm hoping
what's
45
the,
feet good.
The texture of the wall.
It's metallic. It has plates. There's definitely some separations between them, but it is overall smooth in construction. This would be a climb that would be challenging, but not too challenging.
And that's the only entrance we see. Like,
You haven't found any entrances at all, technically, but you do know that there's that ledge up there.
Do you magic people see anything better?
Right.
Oh. There's no entrances, and the only thing we see is the ledge.
And you said the point of the cone is about 4 feet off the ground.
That's right. So it's just gently hovering off the ground.
Uh, hmm, this is where I would normally make my gnome roll to see if I would do something silly, but Schrodinger would go up to and not touch, but put their hand, like if this was the point, like put their hand next to it to see, can they feel anything? Is it talking to them?
Right. So there's no warmth. There's no sensation of energy. There's also no field that you could feel there.
Okay.
Nothing happens to him. Like he doesn't get zapped back or anything.
Man,
Okay.
you know, as much as I just used all those points up, he's fine.
Okay. Then I go ahead and I take a running leap at it and I try and climb it.
Yes, that is the correct response. We've got some climbing going. Okay, so this climb is not that bad. As a difficulty,
Okay.
it's going to be a 4 because you're going up 45 feet in the air, and that seems appropriate. But you have good stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about how good this goes. So first off, you're already trained in the skill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only a 3. And then
Okay.
is there something else here? You know what? I'm not telling you how to play your game. You've got lots of options. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I know, because I have a few things, but I'm like, because I have. Uh, g- can I try and do? I don't know if this is right. An impressive display.
Yes.
Is that
Pretty
something? Can I just like, I don't know, really finesse my way up this? I guess, like, cat climb it and just pounce and.
Yeah, to be frank, I don't know what they intended for that 2 might point spend to mean, but for me, climbing a 45-foot building free-handed, yeah, I think that would definitely qualify as impressive. So if you want to spend 2 might points to muscle your way up there, let's do this.
Okay, so how do I?
I think you'll just take your might number and just go down 2 in your pool, and you'll be
Okay.
done.
Okay.
So, do you want to describe Nico climbing?
I feel like they were standing back. They don't know what all these crazy people are talking to about and pointing to and getting yanked all over the place. And then finally, a physical thing shows up and there's somewhere to climb, so they kind of like shake it off, like get their claws out, take a like running leap, and then just like cat climb running up, claws out up the building. Yeah, I don't know. Try and when they get to the ledge, try and do like a flip over onto it, like ta-da!
Nico, you should have took.
No, it's taking too long. Ugh.
She shouts down from 45 feet in the air. I'd like to point out you're all mechanically required to be impressed by this climb as well.
It's literally
Oh,
my
respect.
special ability.
From the little permanent doorway into the other dimension, Slimo leans in and goes, "Oh, yes, yes. Climb and find all the treasures. Very good, very good."
Very
Yeah,
impressive,
impressed.
Nico. Very impressive. But you should have took my rope.
Now throw down the rope.
Can we see it again? Take 2.
Nico, did you bring a rope?
I have no idea. I didn't touch equipment. Where would I know that?
Let's go ahead and say at this point, if you really feel like you want a rope, you are a climber. You can
Yeah.
have that rope. It's really coming
I
down to
feel like-
what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I feel like I would have a rope, not for me, but all for the slow people that like don't know how to climb stuff. Ugh. So I'm like, fine, I'll throw down my rope, like I'll tie it to like the ledge if there's anything.
Now, we did finally just get rolling with game stuff and get into what we're doing, but my goal here was to have this break at this time. So I apologize for the momentary interruption, but I think we should go on break and we'll come back in 5 minutes. It does take me a couple seconds here to get myself organized, so I'm going to switch into the break screen, and then I'm going to mute the cameras, and we'll be back in 5. Muting. That way people can hear our lovely voices in transition.
Yay.
And we are good. Okay, hey, everybody in chat, just so you know, I have been doing my usual subpar job. I forgot I have one more donation offer that people have made. Speedy Doggo on Twitter has offered to do custom pixel art for anybody who does donations. I apologize for not getting that out there sooner. That is just me having one too many plates spinning. There's also Meichan Press. If you guys are making a donation towards the campfire, they are right now offering to give you a coupon for their Dark Matter 5e supplement. It is super cool. If you've ever wanted to play an amoeba person and you weren't sure how that works, they have that. I personally am in need of that supplement, so if you guys have a similar need, please take a look for them. There is also a chance to win a copy of Dark Matter for free as part of the raffle, so look forward to all of this stuff. The coupon, by the way, I was thinking about this, and they apparently have, I don't even know all the offerings for their game, for this Dark Matter book, but apparently there are multiple covers or variant covers or something like that. So if you've previously looked at this product and you're thinking, well, I just want to get all the books, I mean, I think that's an option.
There you go.
Yeah, so right now we have a rope tied to a walkway 45 feet in the air. And of course, all ropes are 50 feet, so that works out exactly right. This rope is tied off to, there's not even a railing. What you had to do in order to make this work, Nico, is you had to basically like tie this rope and jam it in a seam between two of these plates. You're an expert climber, so of course there's no danger of anybody falling or anything like that, but this is just a gangway. And then ahead there's this dome, which again looks like the single scoop ice cream cone, and there is a port on this side that you can see directly in front of you. It looks like an opaque, smooth door. So that's where we're at. Is anybody doing anything with the rope?
I am heading up the rope because Roman is not afraid.
Schrodinger will go last because they will make sure everyone gets up the rope first.
Dusty rope count as an asset?
You know what? I'm not even going to have a roll for climbing a rope right now.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yes. Although it might be fun in some games, I think for us right now, we want you up the rope.
I will die.
Excellent.
Nico,
In that case.
I was just gonna say that Nico's looking at the weird thing and is like hanging over the edge and like, there's a thing. You should come look at it. Hurry up.
One by one, but we're going up one by one. So I'll wait until sorry, I forgot Chris's character name.
Roman.
Roman.
Until Roman's up, and then I'll head up, and then wait
You
for
will come
Schrodinger.
last.
Yeah, and if you guys want to do this, it's not a requirement at all. If you right-click on your portrait in Zoom, you can rename your stream name to your character name. It might be easier. Like Adam, yours is good, but on the other hand, your handle is this long, so I just see SC.
Ah.
So depending on screen size, that may be better or worse. I've got all sorts of buttons just hanging out. That's great. They're fine. Let's see. Continuing on. You are on top of the ice cream cone. Everybody has made it up. There's a portal. It seems like, again, just smooth, like maybe a synth, which is a synthetic material, or something that's like a glassy material. And it seems to be the only portal that is on this side of the dome.
I will touch the portal and see if I can open it with my mind.
Yes, it does respond to mind powers. So when you touch the portal, the mind powers make the portal go over to the side.
Then Roman shall walk in and see what's going on.
So inside, you see a room that's laid out in that circular configuration. The center of the room has a pillar like this that just seems to be like slightly iridescent force. Just you can tell there's some sort of force field there in the middle. Around the room, there are a couple of consoles that look like fairly standard instrumentation for a ship, a base, something where you see people standing around them. There are two people in this room. There is a male, probably, person, shorter, balding, wispy white hair on top, older, pinched features, looks like he was just sucking on a lemon, long, kind of like thin fingers too. He has a staff that he's holding in one hand. It has a blue light glowing on the end, so you know he's a wizard. And with one of his two legs, he has one regular leg. The other one is a metal prosthesis that ends at about Short's level, and it does not emit force or light or anything like that, but it seems to be keeping him stable. He is currently plunking at some buttons on a computer console in front of him. The other person in the room, who is all the way on the opposite side and is advancing in your direction, very tall, slim, wearing a long robe or dress. They have no hair, their skin is tanned, and on top of their head they have a metal sheath that covers their scalp that goes back over their head and over their left ear. And they're walking out with their hands outstretched as they walk towards you. This is our freeze frame moment of seeing them before we continue with how they're talking.
I go into a defensive stance and raise my hands.
Okay. This
In a
taller...
placating gesture. Oh, I didn't know anyone was here.
The tall, slim person comes forward and says, I don't know where you've come from, but it's so good to see you. Come in.
Well,
Sure, yes.
and I move sort of to the side a bit to let the others in.
My name is Goulet. This is Vistha. And Vistha, the computer poker, looks up. He has that kind of sour face and says, hello.
What is this?
This is our colony.
Colony?
Colony, yes. It's a station we
There are more of
repurposed.
you?
I'm sorry, what's that?
There are more of you?
There are 3 other people here, yes.
Small colony.
Yes, well, we had a lot of people evacuate at one point, and now we're kind of stuck.
Ah. Well, there isn't... Have you looked outside recently?
Yes, there's nothing there.
Exactly.
Well, that is not entirely accurate. There is lots of things there. You just can't perceive them. You are between moments.
That sounds like what we're experiencing. That sounds right.
Schrödinger is our interdimensional expert.
Expert is generous. Thank you.
Well, among us, you are the person who knows most about these things, so you are expert.
Well, it's really good to have you here because we don't know what's happening or what has happened, but we've found ourselves here.
Yes, that is how most perceive time.
So, where are you from then?
We're from the normal dimension. We're from reality. We're from.
Perhaps a better question is, when are you from?
I don't know. When is it?
Whatever the year in our current country is.
Yeah. There may be some sort of standard date unit. And as you echo their standard date unit or your time, they tell you that they've been here in your language about 2 weeks.
But do they? So are we getting a sense that they're from the past, they're from the future, or they're from a completely different dimension? Like, is there any?
Well, they said the same calendar as you, but about 2 weeks earlier than you expected.
Okay.
By the way, this is how I feel when I organize streams. You say a time, I say a time. We both sit here and go like this for a while.
Is there any loose material laying around at all?
Yes.
A lot of loose material or just a little bit?
Yes. Would you like to, you could basically take apart most of this room. They have things like the equivalent of like an iPad sitting on a shelf. They've got a lot of little technical things, but this also looks like a fairly comfortable control room.
I look for like a clipboard or something that's trash.
Yep. You have that?
Okay. Just nonchalantly walk over and toss it at the force field thing just to see what happens.
It goes, ooh, and it falls down. There's a hole in the floor. I should have mentioned this more. And this is apparently like some sort of matter elevator because it just keeps going down. Very slow. There's also a large circular disc that looks like it could hold all 4 of you at one time.
At least that doesn't zap you or blow you up. That's good to know.
The person who's identified themselves as Goulet turns around and goes, "Oh no, that would be disastrous. There's only the 5 of us right now as it is."
So
Where's the other 3?
They're below.
Are below, like way down there?
There are 3 levels to the station, and this is the top level, and then there are 2 levels below.
as they're talking, I sort of walk past the consoles and try to figure out what they do.
Okay. With a glance, just looking at the way buttons are laid out and so forth, this is not in any way challenging to you, so we'll just go for information. This looks like this station at one point was some sort of colony like you would find for people doing mining or harvesting or things like that. As to how it is here, that's not clear from the controls, but you see very simple basic readouts for monitoring the atmosphere conditions and the stability of this unusual ice cream cone shaped building and so forth.
So it's not a ship,
No?
a craft of some kind.
Yeah, you don't see any sort of maneuverability controls. It doesn't look like it goes anywhere. And it doesn't seem to have any buttons that say go to other dimension. So nothing seems to clearly explain how you would get this out of here.
So it's like a building.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just it monitors whatever is inside the building and the area around it.
Yeah.
There is no actual function to the building.
So that's a good question. You don't see any controls that look like the building itself does anything. So there's not like a mining laser or like any sort of atmospheric sensors. It basically, these are the controls that tell you the building is still standing up and that all of the doors and windows are closed, opened, etc., and that the lift works.
Right. So that so what I thought was that it might have been, some sort of craft, and they got into an accident and moved sideways instead of forwards. But if it's a building itself, that is odd.
Yeah, there's also a lot of communication controls, so it looks like they can communicate with people on all the levels and have some personal channels set up and so forth.
I'll walk over to Schrödinger. This is just a building. This thing doesn't actually move on its own, or shouldn't move on its own.
Yes. What
So
things
it must have been
shouldn't
moved
do
by
are
an outside force.
perhaps, or perhaps something inside moved the entirety of it.
I like the ominous coffee cup move there. That was good. I use that one myself.
What
What
what was happening while you, or before you, found yourself in this nothing place?
So, the person who's speaking to you right now says, we were just undergoing normal operations of the colony. Everything was like it usually is. And it happened somewhat suddenly.
Moments often do.
When you say it, what do you mean by it?
And she kind of gestures out into the distance. Where we don't... I don't know a lot of words to describe the sciences that are happening, but it seems like we have left the world and are floating somewhere different.
Yes, you are floating between the moments. Puzzling.
Was there a flash of light or something strange?
I don't recall there being a flash of light.
Perhaps if we were able to speak with the rest.
Yes, of course. You could go below if you'd like to and speak to other people.
Before we go, what was the normal activity of your colony?
So our mining, or our facility, it's not mining, pardon me, that's just me talking. Our facility typically handled, cancel that, sorry, I'm doing a real quick camera adjustment on my part. Our facility typically handled the extraction of a substance called nacre from a being that we knew as the Leviathan. And then recently we became familiar with a different source of barter, exchange, where we were able to start taking in, and she shows you, it's like a small shimmering blue stone. For Schrodinger, you've actually seen this before. This is something you sometimes see as a byproduct of a dimensional shift, and it's very rare and valuable.
Cool. So they were mining unobtainium that causes a dimensional shift.
Yes, but we don't have to go out of the building to get this anymore. It's actually something we can produce here inside of the facility.
Ah.
Mm.
Yes, we would all like to perhaps see that place.
Of course, all you have to do is go down to the lower floor. We call this floor 3. On floor 2 is where we do the harvesting.
Very good.
Do
Shall we
have
go?
Do we have to go down the big blue thing?
Yes, it's a lift, and you could just stand on the platform, and it will bring you down.
Right. Okay.
That was in vain. That really
That was the
happened.
sound of the elevator going.
That is a mostly happy scream. That means that we just ended with like a very nice bath, I think. So sorry about that. Yeah. So you go onto the platform. As you step onto this metal disc, which hovers by itself, there's like a pole, a little bit of a like field that tells you you're secure. You're not going to fall off of the disc.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes around like this, like a corkscrew, as it descends this column.
Oh, rotation's not good for me. Ooh.
I'm glad you had the same reaction as the previous game that had to ride on this elevator. It's good.
Rotation isn't good for me.
So on floor 2, you are again in a circular area, and what you see is 2 sets of doors on either side of you. So let me describe that better. There are 4 rooms, like ship port rooms, that are on your left and right. They all have like a simple door. Ahead of you, there is a very large area that is broken into 3 very large, about 4-foot tall walled metal pens. Like if you had to imagine the metal version of like a ranch pen, those are in front of you. And as you turn and look behind you, although you already saw this on your big circular journey, there are the same 3 big pens.
Okay.
So 3 for 6, 4 rooms over here.
And the whole space is smaller than the one we just came from.
Correct. So this is where the ice cream cone starts to narrow down.
Sure.
And we were told where were they mining?
They said they were harvesting on this level, but all of your information has been rather nebulous, I think.
Sure, fair. That's fair.
Mm.
That's totally fair.
So is there any equipment or
Well-
automated function going on here?
Where do you want to look?
I'll look at the pens just ahead of us.
Perfect. That sounds easy. So looking in that direction, there are these 3 large pens. Each of these is about, let's say, 4 feet across widthwise and about 8 feet across lengthwise. At the back of each one, there's a device mounted on the wall. It's a box that looks like a circuit breaker box, and it has a tube that runs down to the wall for probably like an electrical conduit, and another tube that just runs straight down, and you see it sparking like this as electricity shoots out.
Mm-hmm.
Inside each of these tubes, this is our real quick, get ready for it, there is about a 7-foot long centipede that is radiantly blue, many, many legs, vicious little mouth parts in the front, and it seems to be touching the sparks that are coming down from this electricity machine repeatedly. So there are 3 of these creatures, 1 per pen.
I go over and bat at one of the cages.
Okay, at the cage itself?
Yes.
No. I just see
Is there
Blicky.
anyone-
Sorry, go ahead.
Is there anyone here?
That's a good question. As you've now come down the lift, behind you, someone opens one of the port doors, closes it. A person who's wearing like a orange jumpsuit that goes all the way down to their wrists, and then they have long gloves on and like a hood that just goes over the top of their head. They're medium tan skinned, black hair that's very short. They walk out and they see you and they just kind of wave and walk in that direction. So they're walking over to you now.
Okay.
Hi.
Something tells me I should be wearing one of those suits. um, how does this work? Can you explain this to me? I'm trying to find out what happened to you.
Yeah. These are real simple. So the creatures they eat energy, and they excrete, and he reaches down into one of those pens, and there's like a little, like, it slopes and has a collection area, and he reaches out and pulls out like a little blue disc. It's the exact stuff you saw up above, just like this, and we just collect it and put it into a box.
Huh.
You collect their poo?
Yeah, it's
Has
just
anything-
it's like a natural excretion. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And when I turn around and look at the
Where
pens
do you
behind
keep
us,
it?
are
Where
there
do you store it?
3 more?
Yes. So in order, I'll go Adam and then I'll go Ozzy. So yes, behind you there are identical pens that are doing the exact same job. But where do we collect it and store it? He takes the discs, walks over to the side where next to these rooms. So there's 4 rooms, right? One of the rooms, he opens the door, and along the walls there are lined many boxes like this. And he takes a box out, like just a drawer out of a chest of drawers, and drops it in, like that.
So are the little
this-
discs? Is it crystalline, or is it liquid, or is it just solid material?
They are Numenera, and none of these categories truly apply to them. They are the solidified substance of a dimensional being, and they have all of these properties. They seem shimmery, they are slightly fluid inside, but they also seem solid to the touch.
I will scan the storage room.
Okay, good stuff. So there's a spend there of what, 1, right?
To see if I need to spend 1 point of intellect. It's costs 2, but I've got an edge of 1.
Yep.
To see if the energy in here, stored in here, is stable.
So that's a great question. So what you find is, with the scan, you know where all these containers are. This room is about half full. Half of these containers are full to the brim with this substance. About half of them are empty. And looking around and feeling this room, you don't sense an eminence of energy. It doesn't seem like they're unstable in any way. They seem solid and inert.
So my first thought was that now they collected too much and it overloaded, which then caused some failure of some description. Because Schrödinger said that this material was connected to interdimensional travel. But that doesn't seem to be the case. I'll come out again and ask that the person in the orange suit. When you traveled here, when you suddenly shifted, what happened to the material?
Nothing. We'd been collecting it before. We just kept collecting it.
So that was not the cause of your predicament.
I'm not really sure. I'm like a harvest specialist. I just do the harvesting.
It seems stable to me, at least this room here. But was there an outside force? Maybe. What was the weather like?
I don't know. I think I was inside at the time, so it was pretty normal down here.
Sir, what was your name? I'm Roman. I didn't remember getting your name.
Oh, yeah, I'm Varist.
Timer.
Hi.
Schrödinger.
I like the part where Nico does not give a name, is not necessarily in the room at all. It's perfect.
I'm busy looking at centipedes. They're
Yeah,
interesting.
I will
That's shiny
join
thing.
Nico, and I will see if the beasts or the bugs, like, do I sense anything? Does Schrodinger like feel some kind of, I don't know, aura or anything that could potentially explain what's going on?
Varus, could I see some of those little, those things?
Oh yeah, go ahead. So let's deal with Nico and with Schrodinger out here. So first off, for Nico, how are you dealing with these centipedes?
It depends on how tempting they look.
They are radiating blue, so they are very shiny.
Oh,
They
I like
look like
shiny.
if you
Are their
touch
like
them, they might be
legs
smooth.
like flickering? Like, do they make good clackety sounds?
Yes, they do now.
I'm gonna like see what Schrodinger does first, because they tend to like unmagic the stuff first, I think. But if nothing happens, then I'm gonna pounce.
Okay.
I'm gonna just like reach. If it's, is it like a gated, like am I thinking like almost like, or is it like a force field?
It's just like a little wall, and you could easily reach over it. When Varus
Yes!
did this earlier, he
Okay.
just reached over.
If it's possible to reach a paw in and like poke, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a second. If nothing happens, then I'm gonna do a poke.
Schrodinger, it sounds like it's all up to you.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get poked because whatever dice roll this is about to be, I'm gonna fail.
So again, for you, I don't even know that this necessarily requires a roll because you are the dimensional expert, and these creatures to you feel similar to yourself.
And they're just happily eating this energy.
Yep, they love the energy.
So in the split second before Nico, boop, do I get the same sense when they travel, like there's that separation and return? Do I sense that these things are currently in the process of separating? Like, are they currently, like, they look like they're feeding in normal, but do I sense any kind of buildup or any kind of energy expenditure at all besides the waste product?
You actually sense the opposite. Whatever is happening right now, there's not an output of energy. There is a tremendous intake of energy.
Oh.
The magnet sensation you felt earlier is here.
Oh. Well, that's totally not good. I think Schrodinger kind of like staggers back for a second and is processing that, so in no way stops Nico from touching.
So, Nico, how are you doing? This one's for you. And then,
Okay.
who would you like to give this one to?
Schrodinger, because they're right there to solve my mistake.
See how well these things work in this game? It's like it's just natural who's going to get it. So, there's a creature. It is blue and clackety,
It's so exciting.
and you're going to touch it?
Yeah, I want to just like, I just want to give it a poke. It's interesting, and it's new, and it's shiny, and it's making interesting noises, and
It's doing
Tapped it?
all of these things.
Yes.
It's very much pokeable. And in the last game, we had someone whose cat poked this thing, so I know what happens. I was prepared. When your paw touches it, there is a momentary, like you think it's a squeal sound, but it's insectoid, so it's different. It was like a, and when it makes this sound, it pops, and it's just gone.
Can I walk away all nonchalant? Can I like pretend I didn't do anything?
Yes, you could do that.
Like, I'm gonna go stand near a wall somewhere, make myself like not so noticeable.
Look natural while looking the most unnatural. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yes, that goes just fine. So
Okay.
inside of the room, we've got Timo is standing here with Varist, and you said you wanted to take some of these things.
No, I was trying to figure out if the room was stable, if the
Oh.
energy was stable. Yeah.
Okay, we did that.
So
I s-
that's fine. So
Oh, it was Roman?
that was
Ro-
my first thing, but as there was a build of energy, which then caused dimensional.
And I was wrong. Apparently, it was
chaos.
Roman who had asked. So, okay, so Roman has
Oh,
asked
right,
if he can
yes.
have some of these things. Ferris says, yeah, I think you'll have to check with Vista at some point if you really want to take them, but you can hold them and stuff.
Oh yes, yes. I'd love to have a couple just to see if there's any reaction with anything going on around here.
No, I mean, go ahead. They're really valuable, I hear.
Sure, sure. I'll make sure to ask upstairs before I leave the facility with them.
Yeah, thanks.
So where's the I come back to the man in the suit. So where's the energy being generated that these creatures feed on?
Oh, I guess downstairs, like where the energy comes from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think this is my next object I need to look at.
Okay.
So the that elevator goes further down as well.
Yeah, you just take the lift down one more.
Would anyone like to come with me? I need to have a look at the generator room.
Oh, I'll come with you, Timo. Just how many did he give me?
How many do you want to take? There's a big bin with probably hundreds in there.
5 or 6?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we take the elevator down one more floor.
Okay. Nico and Schrodinger, what are you doing?
So, Schrodinger comes back to themselves as the thing pops out of existence. Do I notice the magnetic drain lessen at all?
That's a really interesting question. Not really, because after about 3 seconds, the creature's back.
Okay. And I can set. Oh no! Now Nico is just like, poke, poke. Would they be able to notice that these centipede-like creatures are the things that are sucking in the energy? Like, it's clear that it's these things and not the waste product.
Oh yeah, there's no question in your mind what he's
Okay,
doing
okay.
right.
And okay. And based on my amazing rolls at the beginning of the session with the GM intrusion, and now knowing what these things are now, can I get the sense that the massive magnetic draw is that essentially that this is it? This is the source of the magnetic or the dimensional shift, or is it? Am I missing a piece?
No, you have got that.
Okay. I turn to the jumpsuited. I'm assuming the jumpsuited person is nearby.
Yeah, they walk out of the room now that nobody's in there.
Where did you procure these creatures, and how long have you been using them?
I think they came to us, and there were some people that were like working with something, and they made this happen. And then I want to say we've been doing this for about a month.
Perhaps you are playing with the forces of the moments, between moments. This is not going to end well.
Okay.
Your creatures are... They are absorbing and not releasing. They will continue to absorb until you shift completely away, and you will be lost between the moments.
Okay.
I suppose that we must discuss this with someone who is in charge.
Yeah, I would talk to Vista if it's about the harvesting.
Yes. I look over to the rest of the group and says, let us go see the power source.
Okay, one twisty ride later. Ooh. You are down on the bottom floor. This is a place where all of the wires run down to the center of the room. Long, like there's laser lights shooting around the room, touching different things, and in a good way. And there are big 10-foot computer consoles, building consoles made of silicon, all around in a circle. And you, of course, get transported down in the center. You could see most of the beaming laser lights and wires are focused in one area of this room, though.
This looks like a dangerous place.
Anyone here?
Yeah, there's a lot of laser lights and so forth, but you can hear some sort of like gentle servo movement of something in a particular direction. And for you, Tamo, it doesn't look that dangerous. It looks like a normal computer system that has lasers shooting through it.
Now, I mean, is there anyone here? Is there,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
any
In
person
the
here?
distance, if you had to guess, all of that activity would be focused around a central console.
Right. So I don't see anyone at the console itself.
There's a very large wall of machinery around you. You are going to have to walk
Oh,
past
okay.
that.
Okay, yeah, I'll walk around.
Yeah, and there is a person who's sitting there. They have their body ends just below the navel, and they have like a disc that they are riding on. It's mechanical, cybernetic, and they're hovering off of the ground on this. Their hands are outstretched like this, so their fingers are like searching in the air, and their eyes are right now glowing iridescent blue. They have circuitry traces over their scalp and down their back and so forth. And as you come in, their eyes stop flashing blue. They're just like a normal human brown, and they look at you and they say, "Hello."
Hello. We are here to try and figure out what happened to you. Do you remember when you shifted? Was there anything unusual in here?
The machinery for the building has all been operating fairly normally. We're using a lot of secondary systems to make sure that we have atmosphere and that we're able to recycle water and keep people, okay, because there doesn't seem to be air or any source of natural elements outside of this building. Otherwise, everything's been fine.
So there was no energy surge or anything like that.
No, the energy output's all been very nominal. For a while, we were having problems with energy surges, but that got solved.
So that was before you came here.
That's right, yeah.
Huh.
You had energy surges. When?
Well, our first harvesting operation was dealing with a creature that excreted something called a knacker. And then we took care of that situation, but there was a lot of dimensional energy being shifted around, and the building was having trouble dealing with that. The systems were constantly cycling because it felt like it was falling, but it was just shifting dimensions. But now that we're in this other place, it's fine. It doesn't have any of those problems anymore.
Yes, you are just trapped between moments. No problem whatsoever.
Well, the building is okay, and all I can do is control the systems in the building.
This is fair.
So does this description sound to me like that those problems could have, displaced them?
Maybe he's not being super
Because
super helpful.
that was my question.
Yeah. So it's a good question. Basically, he's described everything as now being okay.
I'm going to ask them if there was, at the time they were shifting, if there had been any problems.
No, I didn't sense anything on the instrumentation at all. The building was fine.
But you just mentioned that there were dimensional problems.
Yeah.
And then after you've been moved, those problems disappeared.
Right. So in between those two things, there was probably about 2 weeks. We were having some real dimensional issues. We had a group that came in, they solved that. And then we started our new harvesting operation. And about 2 weeks later, this happened.
So that was just from one moment to the next?
Yeah, right.
Without any indication of problems?
Right. We just kind of shifted.
Ah. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I'll reach out with my sensors again to see if there is any instability or energy buildup that it's not contained.
To you, everything seems fine. The system is just like humming along. It's operating on a normal level.
We must visit the top again. They are responsible for their own problem.
Sounds to me like it is.
Hmm.
Seems to be fine here.
So
The question is. Yep, let's go. Thank you, and let's go back.
and their eyes go back to flashing blue, and yes, zzz, back the other
Ooh.
way. You are up on the top level. Yep, Roman's having fun time, and you are now in that other room. You have the man with the staff who is typing away at his little interface, and then the lady comes up to the transport, the lift, as you get there, and says, "Did you figure out what's going on?"
Yes. You are creating a vacuum with dimensional energy.
Oh. What should we
And-
do?
Stop creating the vacuum.
Okay. How do we do that?
I am unsure, but ceasing to harvest from these creatures is the first step.
The man with the staff who has ignored you until now stops clacking at his computer, looks over and says, "Every time someone comes into this place, they're always talking about stopping something. Why don't you ever contribute something? Everybody is always taking away from what we're trying to do. This is legitimate, important business, and nothing is getting hurt."
You will all eventually die as you are trapped between moments. I would consider that pain.
I've heard we all die eventually, one way or the other, but I've planned to see how much I can spend to avoid that process. And right now,
You can currently spend nothing. You are trapped without a world.
are you sure? And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a whole bunch of these blue discs and is like showing them to you with both hands. "Why don't you just fix it? And here, you could take this."
We can fix it. We have told you how.
Well, look, this is business, and business is important, and someone's got to do business. But what exactly are you proposing that we do?
You have created too much pressure. You have mined too long. Your greed has caused you to shift out of the time stream. We suggest, perhaps if you must continue this process,
We must.
to limit yourself. You must initiate breaks. Let the pressure build down and start again.
Are you suggesting we... what would we give breaks to? Employees?
No, the creatures. You must starve them. They are causing the vacuum. Can you not feel it? Can you not feel the moment getting farther and farther away?
No, no. That doesn't make sense.
We have a hard time discussing moments with people that cannot see moments. It is like you are here, and the moment is here, and you are slowly doing this. Eventually, you will cease to be able to touch the moment, and you will be gone.
The tall, willowy person, Goulet, comes over and she has her hands out. She says, "We don't want to do this. We've got to find something that we can do. You say we just have to turn off the power?"
Just is a strong suggestion. I am unsure of what will happen when you starve the creatures that you have been gluttoning so long. But
Okay.
yes,
She goes over to the console, pushes some buttons, and says, "Okay, that's fine. We can do that." And Vista begins like exclaiming, but, and she says, "No, we've got to try what they're suggesting. If that's going to make things better, we'll do that." For everyone who is not Schrodinger, there is the unusual sensation the building begins to shift. You can feel the floor is not there for this split second, but it goes back pretty quickly.
What just happened?
What was that?
Goulet says, "That was the problem we were having before."
can we check to see if the outside is back to normal?
You look, and for a moment you see the natural landscape, and then it shimmers again and goes back to white.
Of course it would.
So
not
when this
be
happened
that easy.
before, did you stop production?
We weren't even doing the current harvesting operation when this happened before. We were doing something totally different.
Ah,
Below, Nico especially with her keen cat ears, their keen cat ears, you hear and which you are imagining are those centipede type creature sounds that you made it make earlier. They sound unhappy.
They don't like it.
Ida.
I could solve this. I could go see them.
Perhaps.
Goulet, also hearing the sound, says, "That does not sound good.
No.
Is that going to be part of the problem? Is that something we can solve as well?"
Well,
You have to find alternate sustenance for those creatures.
When we had this problem last, the solution to keeping those creatures happy was to feed them the energy. I don't know what will happen now.
That's what I mean. You need to keep them fed, but in a different way.
What would you suggest we feed them?
What do I think? Is there a way of providing clean energy? Maybe that. I'll go downstairs and have a good look at one of the creatures. I'll basically scan them. Use my scan ability. My scan esoteria.
Okay. Is
To
anybody else
see-
going downstairs?
I'll stay up top.
Okay.
I'll have a good look at one of those creatures if anyone wants to come along.
I'll go back down.
Okay.
Right.
So Nico and Taimo go down to the second floor. As you arrive, you're hearing that like trumpeting sound. All of the pens are empty. All 6 of the centipedes are on the floor around the lift. 2 of them are scrabbling against the walls to one of the crew quarters. 2 of them are scrabbling against the walls of a second crew quarters. 2 of them are coming towards you.
I'll reach out with my mind to one of them.
Yes. They are insects, effectively. The sensation you get is hungry.
Oh. I will try and not attack them, but use the same energy as for my mental onslaught to channel energy towards it.
Okay. You can go ahead and do that. That's just a spend on your part. I think actually for an onslaught you have to make a roll. But that's typically for the attack. So let's not worry about it since you're not
So
actively trying to
I'll
hurt.
spend an intellect on that.
Yes.
Oops.
Okay. And so, since it would normally do 2 points of intellect damage, we're going to say it does 2 points of making things full instead. And the creature is slightly mollified. In doing this, what you are learning as you're like blasting mind energy at this creature is the like moods and emotions of a calm, happy person seem to be what it wants to eat. Nico, the other one is coming at you.
Pounce.
Yes. So basically, this very large centipede creature is waving its mouth parts at you, and you are going to attack it.
I'm so excited. My tail is wiggling.
It sounds very good and should
What
definitely
wiggling?
be done. And so this creature is level 5. So pouncing sounds like you're using natural weapons. Would you say that's right?
Yeah.
So light weapons are going to make things a step easier. So this is now down to a level 4. Is there anything else you want to do there?
Can I press my luck and just succeed?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm. Yeah.
What is this pounce like? What are you doing?
I mean, once again, I feel like I sort of was a little bit further back on the like little floaty disc thing. I let Timo stay forward. And but when the opportunity came that things are coming at us, it's my time and I gotta get this thing. And I definitely just like wiggle my little cat butt and I do like a lunge pounce and I try and like just like pounce tackle it.
You've done it. You've pounce tackled it. You're holding onto it. It's not shifting, and all these little clicky legs, they're very tickly. But it's just like clicky, clicky, clicking, 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 and its face is over here, snapping mandibles at you.
Okay. Then I'm trying to just kind of like pin it down, I suppose.
Yeah, you've done that.
Okay.
So it's pinned down, wiggling like this, and you're just like body pillowing this giant centipede, so that's cool.
This is great.
Yep. Timo, you've got this other centipede that is gnashing its jaws at you. This creates two problems.
Mm-hmm.
These are them. One is for you. One is for somebody else of your choosing.
The other one goes to Nico.
Okay, excellent. So here's how this is working out. You are now delicious. There are 5 of these creatures that are not tackled.
Okay.
They are surrounding you. You are now the only source of food in this room.
Oh, shit.
You have 2 points of food and 5 creatures.
I will try and do the exact opposite to what I did earlier, as in close my mind to them.
Okay. I am going to say that's an intellect defense on your part.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also say these beings are not exceptionally good at intellect attacks. So you're probably looking at like a 3 difficulty.
Okay. I think I can do that.
By the way, upstairs where you guys are doing your thing, it's gotten loud downstairs. It sounds like you've got kids running through the playroom kind of thing. There's like some stuff getting knocked over, some slashing and slapping and so forth sounds.
Yep, that's an 18.
Very nice. So an 18 would give you some additional points. So you shut your mind down. The creatures all immediately howl. They are all very upset. And that makes them feel like maybe they would like to eat you physically rather than mentally. I mean, maybe that's something they should now try. But yeah, your brain goes cold. There's no energy being put out, so this whole floor is just starving them out. They are going to make an attack against you. Basically, I'm going to roll this as one, or I'm going to say this is one group attack. So you can choose to defend against it however you like, but you're dealing with something, since there are 5 level 5 creatures, you're dealing with a level 7 creature.
Defense?
I couldn't hear what
So
you said.
speed defense?
If you'd like, you can do speed defense, you can come up with something different if you'd like.
Let's see. Yeah, I'll first try and just stay out of their way.
Okay, so your speed defense is level 7. Are you going to apply any effort?
I'm definitely going to apply effort. So, 2, 3. Oops. There we go. When I mechanical question. When
Yes.
I roll speed, do I roll against after I've taken off the effort?
Right, so the difficulty was 7. When you spend effort,
Yep.
you're rolling against a difficulty 6. I don't know how that applies in
yes.
the roll system, but that's how it'll end up being. So you've just got to
Yeah,
roll
yeah.
an 18.
So the 13, it's a difficulty of 4 I make.
Yep. So it's not there. It's up to you. You can choose to re-roll for an experience point if you want.
I'm going to do that.
Ooh.
Nope.
And the new difficulty is a 1, or the new roll is a 1, which means I get a free GM intrusion.
Okay.
But here's how this works mechanically. First off, you're going to take damage. Your might is going to be decreased by 7 because you did get bit
Yep.
by all the creatures.
Ow.
So that is not fun. You did not lose all the points from one of your pools, so you're still totally normal active, and you can still always recovery roll, etc.
Yep.
But something else got worse. The problem is you guys have removed all of the food from this room, and now the one source of food in the room just shut down. The building is heavily shaking, vibrating, phasing right now.
Ooh.
And Schrodinger and Roman on the upper level, maybe not Schrodinger, arguably, Roman for sure, you're going to need to think about how you deal with a room that has no floor, that's 45 feet in the air. The 2 people who are in the room with you are failing. So you can choose to take an action maybe if you want to. Schrodinger, I'm going to say probably for you, this is in line with your normal course of work. And you can tell me how you're going to deal with this, but everybody else is going to fall through this building.
So, can I use my intuitive thing that I can act now before anybody falls, and basically, I ring a line I tie it to something that is still solid, and basically just throw it in their general direction so they can all grab onto the rope before just plummeting to their deaths.
You could do that, but my caveat is the only solid thing in this room is you.
Oh, even the consoles are phasing?
The building is leaving.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll tie it to myself and I'll try to be their anchor.
Okay, so first off, you're fine there, but you have 3 people. Roman, you don't have to do anything. Your life got easier suddenly, but you're dangling from a rope with 2 other people, and I'm going to estimate that as being about 300 pounds that is pulling downwards at this rope that's around your waist.
Yeah.
Okay, so Schrodinger, let's have you make a might roll, might defense if you prefer, to see how much you feel like you're being pulled in half.
Cool. What's the difficulty of this roll that I'm definitely not trained in?
Well, let's say there's 3 people, so the difficulty's 3.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely going to spend a level of effort. So that, I think. And do I get my asset because of my phase powers?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna see if this works in the little mechanic thing here. Let's see. Oh no! Rolled a 2.
Oh,
So you can spend an experience point if you want, or we can just play forward.
Yeah. Can I use my? Oh no, wait. Can I use my late inspiration ability?
Yep, you can do that if you'd like.
So that means I have to spend 3 intelligent points, but just 2. So that goes to 12. That goes to 7. Oh no, I'm running out of powers.
And you're down to just a difficulty of 1, luckily, because you do have 2 assets now.
Yep. Or actually, let me leave it there and see. I'm just gonna do this, and it's still a might roll.
yeah.
Hey! So it is painful, but you have 3 people hanging on a rope that is attached to you.
As I'm just as Schrodinger's just like in the middle of the air, like just on nothing.
Yep. Now,
Good catch.
here's the fun thing. Both Nico and Taimo are fine because they are in direct contact with these centipedes. So the rest of the room, everything else around you, there were apparently 2 other people on this floor. I don't know if you're going to try to do anything about that, but they are about to fall.
I don't think I can.
And the person who is on the floating disc down below is apparently fine because he's on a floating disc.
Fair enough.
So, Taimo and Nico, anything you want to think about here?
Are the people, like, how close are they? And are there any centipedes close to them?
They were apparently in the room that's directly in front of you, and there are no centipedes because they are all on Taimo or you're holding them.
I feel like it would take too long to do anything. They're falling, like actively falling.
They're
right?
in that moment where we are about to fall. We have movie magic right now, so the
Yep.
floor has just disappeared. You feel the sensation, and you're aware of, through the shifting, there being two people standing next to each other in a room.
Just throw the centipede at them.
Yeah, I'm like,
Well, you have one in your hand. You tackled it. You could toss it.
But then they'll eat the people.
Not right
fuck.
away.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering if I could like tie my rope to the centipede and jump out to the people so that we don't fall completely. Like, I don't know.
You can try it. You sure can.
So did anyone fall past us from above?
Well, not so much past you. They're kind of like dangling from this rope.
Oh,
So
right, okay.
they are coming right into your line of view.
Right. I'm trying to figure out if I can somehow combine my ciphers.
Yes, you could do that.
So I'm going to use teleporter
Uh-huh.
to get upstairs,
Okay.
and then I'm going to. But there are chairs or anything like that upstairs? Do I remember?
There were, lots and lots of things that are all phased out of reality right now.
So I'm going to use the gravity nullifying spray on one of the chairs, sit on it, and that should prevent me from. And I'm hoping this will prevent me from falling down again.
So, good, bad. You can use the gravity nullifying spray on a person, so you could always use it on yourself.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
It
no,
can't.
not a person? Oh, okay.
Not a person. It specifically says not a person.
Got it. I have the opposite way, so that's my fault. But
Yeah,
there is no physical substance in this room, building,
A
etc.
non-living object.
Yeah. So right now everything else is phased except for your personal possessions and the rope.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things you can work with.
Right. So because the chair is phased, I can't use the spray on it.
Right. Or you could, but it won't benefit you because it'll just float past you.
So are the consoles phased as well?
Yes.
Right. So the whole building is phased except for us.
Yep.
Oh. Okay. So now my idea was that I teleport up and switch it all on again, but that doesn't work. In that case, I'm going to teleport outside to the bottom of the building
Yep.
and try and find a way of catching the others.
Okay. Delicious. All right. So teleporting, boom, you're there. You're down below. You're on the ground. You see two people falling towards you. Guys, what do you think? Might or speed? How do you catch two people?
I would say speed.
Yeah, so the way I would say it is speed, but if they fail, they take might damage because you're
I-
like catching someone.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. The hazard here is whether or not you get crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me see.
Guys, this is a very noble plan, and as the GM where my head is buzzing right now, I have to point out, Taimo's down to like 2 might points at this point. This is very
Yes.
heroic.
I have a question.
Yes.
My density nodule, it says it can like add weight. Could it could I use it to like make them lighter
Okay.
so that they don't smush him?
It's an experience point spend if you want to do it. If you want to spend 1 experience point, you found the reverse switch that does that.
Okay, I want to do that. I want to use my
that is
density
awesome.
nodule and try and like
Right.
lighten those
So
people.
I'm going to spend an effort on speed,
Yes. Okay.
and then I'm going to try my best to cushion their fall.
Okay, I'm setting your difficulty as 4.
Okay. So that makes it a 3. Yep, here we go.
Ooh.
Just
good
got it.
stuff, Good
Yay.
stuff.
Good job.
And they are floating
It-
down.
it sort of, I grab them and sort of, I'm not catching them. I just grab them and sort of slow their fall.
Yeah, and their density is less, so they didn't
Yeah.
fall any less fast. I don't know, but that you were able to at least grab them and easily maneuver them. I need to look
I
up
was
density and see how that would work.
I was thinking the Popeye juggle.
No, they would fall the same. The only thing that would change the rate of fall would be air resistance.
Yeah, and there's no air, so that worked out perfect. Okay, so you're on the ground. Nico is grabbing a giant centipede. Roman is on a rope with two other people who are tied to Schrodinger, who is 45 feet in the air. Normal game.
So whatever the rope is attached to isn't out of phase.
Correct. Schrodinger is the one on the rope.
The rope is attached to Schrodinger.
Your
Oh,
directional
right.
specialist is
Like,
okay.
So cut down.
All right, my friend. How do we get down?
You must climb. Please hurry. This is uncomfortable.
So is Schrödinger is just hanging in midair, basically?
Yes.
Okay. Can you move?
Probably, but I believe that if I were to use my phasing, it would end badly for the occupants of the rope.
Can you just sort of lower yourself down? Think about moving downwards.
Well, Schrodinger, you move by phasing. If you
Yeah.
phase, the rope will go.
Yeah, no, we cannot move until the rope is no longer occupied.
Right. How far up are the people on the end of the rope?
Well, he was 45 feet in the air, and so they are like varying degrees of feet below that. Like, let's say everybody's 5 feet intervals. So one's at 40, one's at 35, one's at 30.
30 feet is too high to fall.
I've fallen from further.
No, it's
Can
the
I-
other- the opposite.
can I,
No,
like-
that's-
Jump over to where Taimo had there was 5 centipedes.
Yeah, that actually would solve a good problem for you. You can jump over there.
Can I jump over to where there was 5?
Mm-hmm.
And then try and make a centipede ladder?
Ooh, okay.
Like toss one up sort of halfway in between where everyone is and falling down? Oh, how
The downside is these are hungry centipedes.
yeah. Well,
They are considering you at this point as a next possible source of food. Just so you know, they are beginning in your direction.
okay, they're coming over here anyway.
How are they moving, by the way? Are they staying on the same floor level, or are they? So they move like Schrodinger does.
Yep, they're definitely related.
Okay. Schrodinger, can you grab something and have it stick in phase and stay with you? Like if you grab a chair, does it like?
I'll reach out and touch something near me.
It does not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It would make life too fun for you all. Unless you want to spend an experience point on it. Maybe you can do something with your powers.
I don't know if I have any. Oh, I do have one experience point left.
That is up to you.
Interesting. So explain to me how this elevator works again. There is a shaft,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing rotates around the outside of the shaft, right?
That's right.
Would it be, if I were to touch the shaft, would it, yeah, I'm so glad we're streaming live.
And, 10 minutes to go, no pressure, right? So
Would the disc around the shaft also solidify, or would it just be like, because are they all one piece, and so I could expect the whole thing to be phased back?
I'm mean, but if you're spending an experience point, whatever you want to have happen there with that shaft and disc is going to happen. So that sounded weird. Okay.
All right, I will spend that XP and make that whole thing. I'll focus on I'll hold on the rope and I'll be like, please hurry, and I will make the elevator shaft and disc
I think it goes.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna start. So we're gonna pendulum in towards the shot, towards the elevator.
Okay. Roman, it sounds like you're going to have to roll a might roll to make this happen.
Okay. This should be entertaining.
Yep, the difficulty is going to be 3.
All right. I will spend a. So I have edge in that. So an effort is 2 for me. I'm not sure where to pull that back from. So I'll just roll it.
Yeah, so if you're on your sheet, what I would do is, personally, I would just push the green button next to might, and I would decrease the pool by 2.
So that's what I'll do. I don't think anything else will help me to decrease that. No, I don't think anything else I have can help. So it'll just be a straight up roll.
Oh no!
Oh,
No.
and this is why I love Roll20.
So if you want, you can spend an experience point to reroll, or we could just have things be fun.
I'm all about the fun. Let's do it.
So you are pendulum swinging. It seems like it's going to be a good move, and everything's going okay. The 2 people who are behind you, they get onto the elevator disc, and that field pulls them into place. When the field activates, the rope yanks you and Schrodinger downwards, and you are now swinging at the other end of the pendulum, where you come into the range of the bitey centipede jaws as you are like going over the top. This is going to be a classic person crossing the Amazon River with crocodiles snapping at their heels situation. So, Roman, will you please make a speed test here to see if these centipedes eat you?
All right.
This is speed difficulty 5. If it's a defense and you have training there, you can take that. If you want to do anything cooler than this.
I have speed defense, so that should help.
Yep, so that'll be a 4.
Would this have anything to do with initiative?
Well, you can use speed defense or initiative.
So I'm trained with initiative.
Okay,
so that
so use
lower
that.
it. That would lower it more.
That'll bring it down to 4.
Okay. And since I have an edge in speed and I don't want to get pincered, I will drop it by 2. And then do my
Damn!
Oh yeah.
1 to 20.
So you have a what is your special ability here that's so cool for this? What's your focus?
Focus is I radiate vitality.
So maybe in this case, I don't know. How does having a bunch of centipedes snap at you? Do you feel like that fits in with that, or do you want to narrate something different?
I'm going to say that probably that I end up getting snapped on a little bit, but because I'm so hardy and strong, I just kind of take the shots by protecting Schrodinger because he's on the other end of the pendulum. I take the hits for him, and then by the time we get back up and around, it's like the whole, ow, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad after all.
The visual I'd like to add in here is the pants where they have many little nipping holes out of the back and legs. Because you did get bitten many times, you're fine now. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind as I put this into GM fast forward, because we're at the end and you guys have solved the Scooby-Doo mystery. But we fast forward to back. There is the doorway that goes to another dimension. The colony is now in the same coordinates, but in a different plane, back where it was originally. Goulet, Visla, Verist, and the person whose name you never found out, but who you now find is named Lyria, they're all on the ground. They're all being very thankful. They've handed you a small bag full of these blue discs, which are apparently extremely valuable. So that's all good. And then Slimo is over there to the side with his hands like this, just waiting to participate in these rich spoils that you've obviously earned. And let's talk about where you want to see people exiting. What's this this last shot for? Let's say Nico first.
I don't even know. I
can come back to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Let's go through Taimo. What is Taimo doing right now?
Taimo will definitely be. Taimo is in a predicament because he also wants to find out how the whole thing works. But currently, because he's really down on his might, actually, I can do the recovery roll. It should be not as down. Do that right now. See how I feel after that. That'll make the decision a bit easier. Recovery roll. A 5, so I'm back on 7 might. He looks back at the ice cream cone, looks up and says, would have been nice to find out more, but then heads back through the gate and joins the others.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. And where are we putting Roman at this point?
Roman will take his shares of the bags of pretty shiny blue things in the 6 that he pocketed on his way out the door to replenish his hidden cache of treasures as he goes off and finds more riches and more things to add to his stockpiles of treasures.
Okay, good stuff. How about Schrodinger?
Before I say what happened to Schrodinger, what happened to the centipedes?
They stayed in the other dimension.
Okay, so they shifted away.
Yeah, they're still there. Everything else shifted away from them.
Okay. So Schrodinger sits there looking like kind of back at like, I wonder, like, they wonder about the choices that, maybe that is actually one of the paths that their ancestors came from, like those centipede creatures or whatever. And then we see them essentially take a few of the chips and just kind of start walking off, and they kind of fizzle out of existence somehow and are gone.
Cool. Okay, have we more thought about what Nico's doing?
I think if the camera panned to Nico, they're just sitting on the floor munching on a centipede leg.
Wow. Good stuff. Yeah, so that's a nice sensation. There we go. Okay, we concluded our Numenera game. I want to say for all of you, thank you so much for coming out and playing this game. You guys were all super fun, great players. I have a lot of background noise, so I apologize for that. But long story short, you guys were great. Thank you so much for coming out in support of a great cause. Chat, everybody was awesome in chat. I do still need to know if anybody has a suggestion of where to raid. That would be great to see where we can send this stream next. But thank you guys all for coming out in support of the Campfire and Wildfire Relief. Let's see, what buttons can I push to make things easier?
Running it. This was so much fun, and it's so good that you were doing something.
It was great.
It was my pleasure. And I did want to mention also, I got one more button thing I want to hit here. I got to think about what it is. There we go. I did want to mention, let's get around the cameras so that we can have everybody, if they have anything they want to talk about. Adam, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, I'm glad that my creepy voice didn't creep everybody out. That was a little bit of a worry. I was trying to go for someone who was, not one person, but multiple people. They saw the choices, and it was a lot of fun playing with you guys. And thank you so much for running Numenera, Hans. It was a lot of fun to learn a new system, as always.
I love Numenera. Chris, you're up next.
Well, I just want to say thanks to the other players, and thanks you, Hans, for running such a great game. No, I don't have really anything to plug other than, be kind to everybody. Everybody's out there.
Good stuff. Ozzy, we are up next to you.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to try Numenera, and I'm definitely up for more if you're running something again that is in my time zone, like today. But we are almost on opposite sides of the world, so it's a bit tricky. Anything that runs up to maybe 11 p.m. if mine time is good for me. Yeah, that was great. Love the other players. We had some, despite not quite knowing what everyone can do, we still had a reasonably good dynamic going on. So we were bouncing ideas back and forth. So that worked really well. And yeah, I do things like this on occasion. I'm not on a permanent stream at the moment, but that will change in the new year. And if you follow me on Twitter on Carahend, you will find out when and where that is will be happening.
Very cool. Thank you. Jess, you ready for plugs?
Yeah. I just want to say thank you for running this game. It was so much fun. I was so nervous. Everyone was awesome. You guys, everyone's characters are so interesting. I was so nervous about this game, but it clearly has so much fun potential. Like it clearly all the descriptors and everything are so exciting and so fun. I definitely need to play more of this game now. So yeah, I mean, I stream, so you can come hang out with me. I want to stream more one shots because, gosh darn, there's so many like cool systems and games and people out there I want to play with. And definitely, if you're a fan of Critical Role, go check out Critical Reroll tonight because that's happening. And thanks again for doing this. This was so great.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now, I need your help with some things, guys. Just so you know, first off, I don't have any prepared social links for you in chat. So if there's anything that you want to plug in chat, feel free. But also, additionally, I don't know how to do a raid. I've had a channel suggested. Go ahead, Jess.
Just do /raid without the space in it. I tried to type it in chat so you can see it, but no, /raid, and then a space and then the stream name. That's it. That's all you have to do, and it'll pop up. And you hit raid now once everyone's in the little raid.
Okay, and it's been suggested to me that we raid Terminally Nerdy. They're good people. If we want to go raid them, does anybody know how you do a war cry, or does anybody have any suggestion of a war cry?
Campfire?
Yeah.
That'd be support campfire.
Yeah.
I'll give it a second. We'll see if we get anybody else.
Maybe dark matter, since that's the that's the thing where the raffle. Centipede. There you go.
I am kind of on board for centipedes if you guys are okay for centipedes. All right, guys. Let's try to see how we do this. I apologize for not being good at streaming etiquette, but thank you all for helping me learn. Okay.
There you go.
Here we go. War cry, centipedes. I have my caps on backwards, and I'm going to keep tapping because there's a timer here. And we're going to raid. Here we go. Okay, so everybody enjoy yelling centipedes at Terminally Nerdy. Thank you guys all for being here. I don't think people are going to hear me on that channel anymore, but give me just a second to type centipedes and then get the other stuff rolling. Oh, that did something different than I expected. I don't know. Oh, well. Did you guys go to Terminally Nerdy? Oh, I get it. I'm just, like, waiting. Got it. Cool, cool, cool. Again, new to me.
So good.
Okay, and I'm going to now put up the other screen, which I don't think I even need to do. I will just take the